A Free Spirit's Search for Enlightenment. Chapter 1. What's real in life? Free Spirit Lifestyle. Who did your Creator, God, create you to be in your purest archetype? All you ever own is your true nature. That consciousness you had at 5 years old is the same essence you will feel at 25, 55, 85, provided you don't change the neural chemistry in your brain either through a hit in the head, excessive drug alcohol use, dementia, or chemical poisoning that affects your brain. All the self-help, psychology, psychiatry, philosophy, New Ageism, religion, humanities, liberal arts and the social sciences are other people's ideas. It's all artificial knowledge next to what's in your soul/free spirit. I know my free spirit. I have a natural, intuitive standard of who I am and how I should live to maximize happiness, a big part of which is to earn self-respect day after day. I understand that most people are wage slaves and work all the time for money to pay their bills. Then over and above that, they try to pursue a comfortable lifestyle as defined by the capitalist system we live in, but at your core, it's just you alone with a natural sense of accountability to the spirit of life within you. God created you with natural tendencies and that's it. You honor your Creator and yourself by developing a way of life where you wake up every day and strive to release most of this natural energy inside of you, as opposed to releasing either the artificial values of the world, as in doing a job you don't like or studying something in school you don't like or otherwise not doing much of anything except for being entertained, mostly by a screen, and buying useless stuff you don't need. The only way to really be happy is to release most of the natural energy inside of yourself day after day. If you constantly do this, your life feels like a life orgasm, like you feel good all the time because you're doing what you were created for. If you don't do this, you betray yourself. This unused natural energy sits inside of you unused, making you feel empty and unfulfilled. The 5 energies within me are: inspired, sexual, loving, hedonistic, minor fun for a break and diversion, practical, what I must do to earn money and otherwise survive, like get food, cook meals, etc. The ideal life is to figure out something that naturally inspires you to earn a living. Even if you must work a dull job to earn money, if you don't release the natural inspired energy within yourself, your soul will deteriorate. You will lose a hold of your essence day by day and end up like all those dull, uninspired, mundane people you see everywhere. You can read all the self-help bull you want or listen to all the psychobabble you want. They won't help you when it's just you alone, because the only way to feel really good is you alone doing really hard stuff that inspires you and make you feel euphoric and high. You don't get anything real out of any psychobabble, most of which is empty, mechanical, one step at a time goal setting crap which does not work because it's artificial, not real to who you really are. You only fly with your life when you do exactly what you like, that feels good and makes you feel like you're doing something useful for yourself and the human race. Of course you need to earn money, but it's not about success out there as defined by society. It's answering to your natural free spirit, rising up to have the guts to do what you really want day after day. How do you feel when you wake up every day? Your body feels average, but the important thing is how inspirited you are about your life all the time. Do you have something intense and passionate burning within yourself that you must do every day? Do you have a vision of your best self in your soul? I figured it out when I was about 28. I was going along, teaching all that useless stuff from that lying, bullshit field called psychology, when I realized that I have a natural intuitive standard inside of me of who I am by nature, what my genetic seed is, what I should be if I live in harmony with what I feel. The field of psychology is a lie. I went in as a naive young guy and right away they told me that a part of me is hidden away because it's so painful that I want to repress it. It's called the subconscious mind. The only problem with that is that I had no real painful experiences as a child. I lived a pretty good life, being naturally curious, athletic, in a family of 6 kids, working at my father's meat store, making good money at 13 years old, Always the richest guy in my class because I earned a paycheck every week, but that's not good enough for these people trying to put the human condition into their little box of mental disorders, offering to fix you for a fee. It comes down to money. They can't fix you unless they find something wrong with you, so they say there is something about you that's hidden away called your subconscious mind that only they can fix, talking about your early years at $100 an hour. They have three scattered theories: behaviorism, psychoanalysis, and humanism, which all together or alone do not give a person insight into life as lived day by day. It's simple. You are born with a true nature. The world quickly comes in to brainwash you to its artificial values. At some point, some people become enlightened enough to realize they are their true natures, nothing more, nothing less. I wake up every day feeling average. My purpose is to release the natural unused potential energy inside of me today and every day in all its facets, mostly inspired, but I'm hooked on sex, other hedonistic things, even at my age, so I constantly purge that energy out of myself too. It's natural, but society says you're not allowed to be natural. Find one person, marry them and stick with them even after you're not sexually attracted to them anymore, which usually happens in most couples by about the third year of marriage, if they make it that far. The process of purging your natural energy out of yourself earns you self-respect and makes you feel good. That's the only key to life. Everything else is bull. People talk about love in a vague way as the key to life. It's too vague. You must release the natural energy in your soul if you want to live as an enlightened warrior, master of the human condition. I want enough money for financial security in modest surroundings, but beyond the material basics, it's all about what I do, think, and feel all the time. The only way you can ever change your true nature is by getting hit in the head or doing lots of drugs such they disrupt the neural wiring in your brain. Other than that, if you betray your true nature by not releasing that natural energy inside of you all the time, you will be mundane and average like all the people you see anywhere. It's called self-betrayal, not being the person you could be by following your true nature. Self-betrayal is everywhere. It's life in the modern world. We're being assaulted by everything. It's not natural to waste time on Facebook or to tweet meaningless chirps to phony friends. It's natural to feel yourself and do what you feel. Most people do not live intense, passionate, glorious, free-spirited lives. They live in little boxes they got suckered into buying into. You can buy all the self-help crap ever created, meditate every day and go to church every day, but at the end of the day, you are still just you in your true primal nature. Will you honor it? Are you noble, tough, inspired, naturally lusting for the full experience of life, or you just another generic wimp buying into the system's view of life, being a wage slave, going to your job or school, living at a comfortable mundane flatline all day long, no highs or lows, no intensity, no gusto for the natural feelings flowing through your senses? Are you a noble warrior of your life or a generic piece of brainwashed crap, nothing original or primal about you? Ask anyone what self-respect is and they will probably give you some psychobabble bull about feeling good about yourself. You can't feel good about yourself if you're a bag of crap, if you do nothing to honor who were naturally born to be constantly day after day to match an intuitive standard you should feel within yourself of who you were born with the natural inclination to be by nature. Most people follow the artificial values of the world, which are mostly the values of capitalist ambition, materialism, and pop culture coolness, rather than following what they feel within themselves, which is their true nature. If you don't release the natural energy in your soul that is inside of you every day when you wake up, you betray yourself one day at a time. Day after day over time, you lose a hold of a strong vital body. Your mind becomes soft, lost, and unfocused, and you feel terrible even if you don't know that it's because you're betraying yourself. The empty feeling comes from the self-betrayal of not releasing your natural energy. Almost everybody lives at some level of self-betrayal because they don't understand that they are simply an essence that they must honor in order to feel peaceful and harmonious. Honor who you were born to be by nature, not buying into the world's bullshit. If the world changes you, stresses you out, makes you a big bag of shit hooked on junk food and all that crap on TV, you lose at life and you're a sucker for buying into the capitalist pop culture marketing machine. Happiness is harmony with your true nature soul, the divine essence God gave you. Earn your self-respect and well-being by releasing this natural energy inside of you all the time, made up of the 5 energies. If you don't consciously live to release this energy that's inside of you all the time, you end up a mundane piece of crap with no highs in life. A natural high is the feeling you get when you release some of that natural energy inside of you with intensity. You get a freeing effect, like you're freeing yourself from the mundanity of the human condition. That's it. That's the key to life. Life is about releasing the natural energy in your soul day after day to honor who God created you to be. Be who you are by nature. Live life as it unfolds in front of you minute by minute, day by day. Use your powers to the limits for good in order to honor whatever created you to the fullest. Suppose you're struck down with a major disease or illness right now. What will you be thinking about in the hospital bed tonight? What's really important in life? Is life a sleepwalking affair where you go along with what's presented to you, or do you try to do what you feel you were born to do? Enlightenment is knowing your true nature, then releasing that natural energy every day to the best of your ability with intensity and love for the process to match an intuitive standard you should feel within yourself of who you were born to be, given by the divine power of the universe, God, through your DNA and the divine soul that entered your fetus at some point in time in the womb. Buddhists say day 49, if you believe in the supernatural dimension, which I do. People have to earn a living though, so most of the time whatever beauty, lust, inspiration, power, greatness, and vitality there is in your soul fades away as you work some average, routine job day after day. People lose a strong sense of their free spirit, so they look for a cheap thrill to try to bring them up a notch for a minute, but over time, this self-betrayal of not being who you were born to be by nature, not releasing that natural energy in your free spirit, beats a lot of people down into being pacified mundane people who do nothing much but work a job, consume pop culture entertainment, eat junk food and buy meaningless junk at the mall. Life is supposed to be the pursuit of the self, to be as wise as you can be so you can have fun and do something good to help others with what you do naturally. God, the creator of the universe, wants you to end up like he is, supremely wise, inspired and loving. I have to release my natural energy in order to earn self-respect almost every day, not every day because I have rest periods and diversions, but this is really the key to living a reasonably happy life. Constantly release the natural energy in your soul to match an intuitive standard within yourself of who you feel you were born to be. I believe I have an eternal soul. I acknowledge my carnal nature and evil thoughts of anger when I feel someone disrespects me or tries to interfere with my free pursuit of life. My purpose is to use the freedom within my free spirit to reach transcendent feelings when I expend it fully, both for my own pleasure and to do something good with my life to help others from the power within me. When you live totally purely to release the natural energy in your soul, it's all good even if it seems selfish in some way. I do physical activities to try to free myself from the mundanity of ordinary life and feel transcendence as God wants me to feel. He created me to reach the full expression of my being. Beyond that, I feel a sense of accountability to try to stop some of the pain, suffering and injustice in the world. That's why I created the People Power program, because representative democracies are frauds that don't help the people and must be replaced by a new structure of government if the human race is to evolve to a compassionate, cooperative, peaceful way of life. I created books to try to do something good with the natural creative intellectual energy inside of me. I only get happiness out of using up natural energy, creating something. This is about as close to a fountain of youth as there is in life. Be a creator of something. Use up your natural inspired energy every day with some manner of gusto. This constantly renews you and keeps you feeling good. The great natural energies of life are love, sex, wisdom, creativity, and inspiration. Figure out how to release and express all of them all the time, and that's a pretty good life. Suppose someone declared you bankrupt right now or evicted you from your home. Suppose they arrested you and threw you in jail. What are the things you have that no one can take from you? It's your body, mind, soul, and free thoughts. That's all you will ever really own in life. A few people are lucky enough to set themselves up to be financially secure for life regardless of how old they will live to. Most people don't have that security, so why worry about it? Life is lived one day at a time. Do what you can for today, and that's good enough. Nobody is promised health or longevity, so don't fret getting old and running out of money, because that time is a long time away if it ever happens. I try to live as an artist of my life, express what I feel in my soul day by day to the best of my ability. I try to stay away from the indoctrination forces of the outside world, which is why I don't watch much TV. I mostly listen to interesting, inspirational videos on YouTube. All you got is natural energy. Almost everything outside of your own pure thoughts is someone else's ideas or illusions, except for science, mathematics, the physical laws of nature, and the supernatural creator God of the universe. The structure of government you live under, probably called a representative democracy, is a pile of bull someone created. It's a big fraud. We could do a lot better than that. We could easily rule ourselves online. That's real democracy when you have no representatives. Everyone casts votes on all the big issues. There is the pure you in your true nature and the artificial values of the world. Most people start living by the artificial values of the world, which is everything outside of the pure you, as soon as they start having consciousness at about the age of 2, and never really contemplate who they might be away from everything they were taught to believe in. So by the time the average person reaches adulthood, they're basically capitalist pop culture clones trying to be cool and successful as defined by the system. A few young people get heavily indoctrinated by religion. Naive people want to major in psychology at college. They don't realize it's a bunch of capitalist crap, another growth industry that keeps coming out with new meaningless knowledge about human life all the time. Everybody has all the wisdom of the human condition inside of them if they're willing to analyze their own lives as the loners we all are, despite the pretenses we live under about being deeply connected to other people, groups, clubs, sports teams, and society. We all have the same DNA given to us by God. There is nobody or no group of people that can reach higher insights than any reasonably intelligent individual trying to discover who he or she is purely. It's you alone with an engine that runs your life called your free spirit, but most people don't know that. They're trying to fit into the system and way of life they've been sold all their lives. You have to earn a living, but you don't have to sell your soul to the outside world. The most natural thing in life is to love yourself. It's all fine and good because it's natural. You're born that way. Society tries to make it seem uncool, but it's human nature. The book of Corinthians in the Bible says, love others like you love yourself. This is very hard to do. I say try to respect others. If you can't love them, don't be mean or evil to them. Just stay out of their way. It's better to be silent than to say or do something negative to somebody who has done something against you. I believe the law of nature and the law of God is to take what you need and leave the rest. I believe all greed, frivolity, and material excess is evil. There is a righteousness sense of inner accountability inside of everyone. You intuitively know when you upset the balance of life by taking way more than you need. This causes inner disharmony within one's soul. People with way too much money and things know there is something wrong with living in extreme frivolous, material excess, while many people are homeless and hungry. Everybody has got carnal fantasies of debauchery and hedonism. Live by your true nature. Do what comes naturally. Just don't break any laws or hurt other people or animals doing it. Free spiritism is the pursuit of natural pleasures. Sex is good. Don't be ashamed of it. Be true to who you are. People say I'm a hypocrite saying I claim to be a Christian with this free attitude about sex. I say God made me this way. My true standard is the inner voice God gave me. I respect all life while being true to myself. I need to feel that my life has meaning. Your sense of natural inspiration should always be alive and active. When you lose that spark, you lose everything, including your connection to the energy God gave you to do something with that's worthwhile to you and the world. Life is really simple for enlightened people. I am simply spirit and energy. My purpose is to take whatever is good within my free spirit, which is my true nature, and use it to try to improve the world and help people somehow, some way, using whatever abilities I have that are unique to me. The only way to ever feel really good is to ride this wave of energy in your free spirit when you're releasing it full blast. I want to achieve that feeling every day, that I purged whatever energy was inside of me that was good, inspired and positive. Your inner voice tells you what to do. You just have to follow it. There is a sense of freedom and transcendence you get when you honor who you were born to be day after day, like Michelangelo, who lived to almost 91 in the Middle Ages because he loved to sculpt stone. His buddy, Leonardo da Vinci, kept an active, inspired mind all his life. In order to feel intense highs in your life, you have to be active. If you don't release your natural energy, you betray yourself. This is the big cause of depression that very few people know about. You got these phony gurus saying I'm always happy because I live in the now and I accept everything. You can't be happy unless you are constantly releasing your natural energy and creating yourself as the person you want to be with intensity and lust for the process. You just can't sit just on a park bench and pretend to be happy watching the world go by. If you do that, you're betraying yourself by not using your God-given talents. That's the greatest sin of life. Then there's the law of attraction lie. Everybody has got good intentions, even the most vile, evil people. You simply create your life, thoughts, and emotions through what you do. You don't attract or repel anything. You create your life by doing things. That's it. You just keep creating, like Jacques Fresco, the 95-year-old guy with his visionary, utopian Venus project about how to create a great society that he's been talking about for 35 years. He's been doing something positive but gets no equitable return from the world. A few people fluke out and say they got incredible wealth or whatever they got because they attracted it. Meanwhile, I see thousands of activists and artists working very hard to try to better the world. Most of them get almost nothing for their efforts. According to law of attraction logic, artists, musicians, activists, and writers have the greatest intentions in the world, so all of them should be wealthy and successful, yet most of them are living near the poverty level. I analyzed my life and explored the world. Nothing out there meant much to me except for the realization that I have an eternal soul, which I got after watching many videos on YouTube.com about near-death experiences and angels. The Bible says there is no way to God except through Jesus. People who are evil or do bad things end up in hell in the afterlife. See it on YouTube. I believe I have an eternal soul that I try to honor by releasing whatever power God put inside of me. I realized if I'm true to myself by releasing my natural energy in a positive way, I feel pretty good. If I mope and don't do anything to earn self-respect, depression quickly seeps in. It's true for anyone. Sit in one spot for a day or two and you start to feel yourself withering away. Your true nature/soul/spirit is the pure energy your God gave you. The artificial values of the world aren't. It seems simple, but life is a big mess for a lot of people. People buy into the ideas of status, coolness, image, and materialism. Deep inside of you somewhere, there is a sense of inner accountability. Living in harmony is to follow it. All you got is energy and spirit every day. Life is lived one day at a time. If I release a lot of physical energy right after I get up, then I start to feel good because I've earned my self-respect. If I don't do this, I will not have a great day regardless of what else I might do. I have to be active creatively, intellectually, physically, sexually, lovingly, etc. Modern society has created this great passive entertainment marketing machine. Sitting around being entertained by anything will eventually destroy your strength, inspiration, and beauty if you let it go beyond a certain point. Regenerate your soul every day by doing activities from your true nature. The best life anyone can live is to honor their true nature. Everybody is born with a certain genetic predisposition and a certain spiritual, aesthetic, holistic essence, spirit, or soul, sometimes called your gifts from the gods. This is who you really are, but then the world comes in and tries to indoctrinate you to its ways, some of which are good because you have to live with other people and be functional out there, but if you believe in God as I do, you believe God made you the way you are because He wants you to manifest that seed. Become who you were born to be by nature. I was born into a middle-class family with some leisure income. My father was a Polish immigrant who ran a meat store. There were 6 kids in our family. We were able to afford a summer cottage where I quickly developed my first natural tendency, which was physical activity, the love of running around doing things outdoors like swimming, rowing, hiking, biking, etc. At the toy store about a block from our house, I was drawn to children's books, so by the time I was 5 years old, I was doing the 2 things I'm naturally interested in that inspire me, make me feel vital and take me to a state of transcendence for a while when I engage in them mightily. The only things that inspire me in life are physical activity, creative intellectual activity. I got indoctrinated by the world system, so I still pursued my natural interests in a haphazard way within the rules and standards of society. All through my youth, I didn't know I had a true nature, holistic essence, or free spirit. I was going along with life as presented to me. I was a young man with good intentions. I became a psychology teacher until I realized all the social sciences are basically a bunch of fiction created out of thin air in the past 50 years or so, even economics, because there is no science to it. Life is basic. There are a few guiding principles and that's it. I realized nothing has changed since Socrates said know thyself and Plato developed the dialectic method of attaining wisdom, which is for several people to sit around talking about something, coming to higher insights based on sharing knowledge and criticizing each other, which is similar to the peer review process we have nowadays, but peer review is much more stilted because everybody is operating by the rules they've been indoctrinated by. Nobody is allowed to go outside the box of the conventional dogma in their field. The field of psychology teaches a bunch of disjointed one-liner ideas about the human condition. It doesn't provide an engine for human life, like what is the one powerful life force that motivates the human spirit. It's to be who you were born to be by nature by purging most of that natural energy inside of you day after day. Enlightened people feel this natural intuitive standard within themselves. The field of psychology offers absolutely nothing on the pursuit of an inspired aesthetic spiritual noble life. That's why it's a con job. The big 3 theories of psychology are the reward-punishment system of behaviorism, where rewards and punishments are used to control people, but it fails because as soon as you take the rewards and punishments away, people go back to being who they are by nature. Sigmund Freud came up with the idea that we have a subconscious mind that represses some of our thoughts that only a psychoanalyst can decipher at $100 an hour or so. The truth is that we have a long-term memory that stores our experiences and ideas. It may be hard to access our memories sometimes, but it has nothing to do with repressing negative experiences from the past, at least not for me. I hide absolutely nothing from myself. My conscious mind is my subconscious mind. Then there's the flowery idealist verbal diarrhea from humanism about how high-minded and self-actualized man tries to be, but they don't tell you how to live like this or think like this day by day. It's just vague stuff that rarely exists within the day-to-day lives most people live. The only truth is that you have an innate, natural intuitive standard of who you were born to be, called your soul, free spirit, essence, or holistic purity given to you by God. You should discover exactly what it is in the inspired sense, sexually, and who you are as a loving person romantically and in the way you want to love other people. Every morning when you wake up, you have a certain amount of unused potential natural energy inside of you from this store of natural energy in your soul. The greatest life you can ever possibly live is to release most of this natural energy inside of you day after day with love for the process. That's an enlightened, noble life living in harmony with who you were born to be. You decide to take that natural energy inside of you and use it to do something good and worthy to earn a living and help other people. The problem is that there is a big layer of cultural indoctrination covering your true nature. In most people, it's so big that they don't know they have a true nature. They're going along with the world system, getting any reasonable job that pays well, buying useless junk to treat themselves and looking for entertainment to give themselves some kind of thrill. Their lives are mundane because they're not tapped into their true natures. They're releasing artificial energy when they do things not inherent to their true nature, like when someone goes to school to study something they're not intrinsically interested in or works a job they have no really passion for. Ultimately, this type of lifestyle will cause a feeling of emptiness within, but most people won't know why they feel a gnawing sense of emptiness even though they are successful by society's standards. Everything as far as pursuing a life for the euphoria, fullness, and passion of it comes down to how true you are in either releasing the natural energy in your soul/free spirit or letting it sit there unused. All the natural energy from your soul that God gave you that sits inside of you unused builds up a feeling of disharmony and emptiness. If you don't release your natural energy for 1 day, 2 days, or a week, you feel a slight discomfort, but it's no big deal. If you don't release your natural energy for a year or 10 years, you feel pretty bad all the time, even if you're functional and successful out in the world. Being successful out in the world releasing artificial energy takes some of the edge away from the misery of not releasing your natural energy because you're paying your way, you have money, people at your workplace respect you and stuff like that, but at your core, you know there is something still missing if you ever stop to feel yourself and contemplate your life. I can usually tell by looking at someone if they got the natural vitality of someone living by spirit or if they're some stressed out, angry, miserable, overweight bag of disharmony. Money or status have very little to do with it. A lot of people live in denial. It's not cool to admit that you feel bland or mundane, like you're working some average job that sucks your inspired life force out of you, so the big facade is to act happy while you do your job and hope you'll last long enough to pay your mortgage off. I'm here to say that material things don't matter all that much beyond a basic roof over your head, healthy food, and a few basic things. The best life possible day after day is to do what inspires you with love, lust, and passion for the process. It's the only way anybody can live a truly great life. Everything else pales next to this. I realize people have to earn a living, but at the same time, what's the good of a bland life? I was a free spirit looking for enlightenment when I realized I have my own inner natural intuitive standard inside of me of who I was born to be. I realized most of the stuff out in the world except for hard science and mathematics is a bunch of crap to me. I've been following my free spirit every day for the past 25 years. Be true to who you were born to be. Release most of that natural energy and you will live the best life you can possibly live. Accountability to your natural, intuitive standard. The purpose of life in any society where people are wealthy enough to have the leisure time to explore theirs is to discover the God-given true nature, essence, soul, or spirit inside of you, then purge that natural energy every day with love and lust for the process because you love your life so much. You are inspired virtually all the time, releasing what your God gave you to do something worthy for yourself and maybe for the world, to earn your sense of self-respect and joy day after day. This is a big fantasy though, because most people live in mundane land. They follow the artificial values of the world over their true natures because they have not contemplated their lives enough to realize they have a true nature and an innate natural standard that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the society they live in. A lot of people don't care about trying to reach the highs of life. They want a decent job so they can pay their bills and live in comfort even if their lives are basically dull. If you want a high quality of life day after day, you have to figure out how to be inspired all the time. The only way to feel good most of the time is to discover your true nature and release that natural energy every day. When you reach deep day after day to release those intense sensations where you challenge yourself through hard inspired pursuits, you're one of the few full human beings that ever lived. That's where the noble warriors for a great life live. You can read all the self-help books you want and watch all those phony gurus on YouTube pretending they know something deep and advanced about life, but a great life is just you hitting a grand slam in releasing that natural energy inside of you to a worthy level, one day at a time. That's it. There's no higher greatness to experience the passion and beauty of life than that. If you want great sex and love, approach them the same way that you approach the natural inspiration inside of you. Get it out. Release it. There is no great secret to feeling great or success in life, whatever that's supposed to be. How can anyone be successful? It's not a place you arrive at. Success is trying to be proud of yourself through what you do every day. You can lose that feeling so easily. Feeling good is a feeling of positive energy, like I did this today. I know I can do this tough, worthy thing. Once you let yourself go and lose this feeling or edge, all the money in the world and all the people who love you can't help you. Old men and women don't have to let themselves go, but they do. A great champion of life rides it as much as he or she can until they die. If you're crippled, it doesn't matter how badly you hobble down the street, the champion is the one doing it, not the one sitting home doing nothing or worse, filling themselves up with junk food and alcohol. The pursuit of an inspired, sensual, noble lifestyle is trying to reach the spiritual aesthetic highs of life day after day by releasing the natural energy in your free spirit/soul with intensity and love for the process to match an intuitive standard you should feel within yourself of who you were born to be. If you don't do this, this unused energy sits inside of you and starts rotting your body, mind, and soul away. We have a multi-billion-dollar mental health depression industry, but nobody ever talks about modern man betraying his true nature, which is the root of a lot of misery in the modern world, and why all the gadgets, material goods, and pop culture crap everywhere will not make people happy. Happiness is accountability to one's true self. Accountability to oneself is accountability to your Creator God. You release the voice of God inside of you. That's about it. Our indoctrination to life in the modern world separates most of us from a connection to our true natures to some extent, but it's not even an issue to a lot of people who accept the packaged lives we were indoctrinated to believe in. There is no such thing as a subconscious mind to enlightened people. Your free spirit, true nature, or soul is front and center of your consciousness all the moments of your life. We all have long-term memories that store our experiences and thoughts, but there is nothing mysterious about it that some psychobabbler says houses our sexual, violent, and unpleasant thoughts that we repress because we supposedly can't bear to deal with them, but they can help us in psychoanalysis for $100 an hour. Everything in the social sciences and the New Age movement is a fraud. It's just you and your innate, natural, intuitive standard in life. You either honor it and live in harmony with yourself, or you don't, whereupon you live to some degree as a lost soul. After your money problems and sense of existential loneliness, your happiness or misery is largely dependent on your accountability to your soul, which your innate intuitive standard measures all the time through how much natural energy you release or don't. Your soul, free spirit, inner voice, or innate sense of self talks to you all the time. The problem is that you could be distracted by filling yourself up with the outside world or not seriously trying to understand yourself. If and when anyone decides to listen to their pure inner voice, they see that life is simple over and above the need to earn a living. You have to release that natural energy inside of you, which is probably different from the artificial energy you might release in trying to be successful in the world. If you don't constantly release this natural energy, you will never ever feel really good regardless of how successful you are in the world. This is really the simple key to any kind of happy life: release that natural energy inside of you all the time. If you don't, you will be out of harmony with yourself and feel that gnawing sense of emptiness I used to feel when I was blindly following the ideas of happiness and success from the outside world. I kept wondering why I wasn't feeling good no matter what I did, until I discovered my true nature and natural standard in life away from my cultural indoctrination. I'm smart enough to know I have to live in the world and pay bills, but I'll never be a stupid mook who watches sports on TV and drinks some elite brand of beer because I'm a brainwashed idiot. Many people never ever feel really good even if they've got money, capitalist success, gadgets, friends, and families. They never release their true primal inspired energy. This is the big X factor none of our alleged self-help gurus and life coaches talk about much. A person's sense of spirit is almost all they really own. Nobody really owns other people, houses, cars, or anything like that. They're all on loan from the Creator God of the universe. The only tangible things are your body and spirit. That's what you always live with, regardless of how much money you have or how many people you think love you. Focus on keeping these two things strong, healthy, and inspired. Michelangelo portrayed man trying to touch the divine God in his painting on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. This is the real purpose of life for anyone who gives a damn enough about theirs to try to go beyond what they've been indoctrinated by. Reach, baby, reach. What's really inside of you that means anything? Herman Melville wrote Moby Dick, which on face is a story about a man fighting a whale, but it's really about the spirit of life itself, man and beast seeking to do glorious, transcendent things because they feel they must, out of a sense of always going further and further to the edges of the known experience to go higher, whatever that is. It's the restless spirit of seeking new challenges and experiences. Enlightened people know they must release most of their natural energy day after day to feel some kind of inspired transcendence. Without this, life is so average and pretty well meaningless. People always say it's all about love. I think you show love for all life when you try to become the original thinking vital person you were born with the potential to be. Love is not some general vague feeling. If you want love, show it to your intimates and others all the time with purpose, commitment, and intensity. Naturally inspired people try to touch transcendence through what they do. Normal people have no idea about the quest to touch a euphoric feeling at some point in a day because you have expended yourself mightily and intensely in some inspired pursuit. Did I blow off a worthy amount of steam today? For enlightened people, the final accountability is always to yourself and it never ends. This is why enlightened old people continue to be inspired, like Michelangelo sculpting stone at age 90, while all the other old people are either dead or living the indoctrinated view of old age, which is golf and cards, which to me is about the same as being dead. Everybody has the same eternal soul within themselves. Some people say it comes from God and it's pure love. I don't agree. What about Eve and the devil tempting Adam, then Cain killing Abel? Maybe we're born pure love and the world makes us selfish and evil. I think selfishness is natural, to want your own comfort and safety over and above the comfort and safety of your fellow man. If we were pure love, we would share our wealth. There would be no poverty and homelessness anywhere. I think people are a mix of good and evil. We all have free will. My job in life is to discover what's good in my eternal soul that I call my free spirit and release that energy while controlling the anger I feel when people mess with me and controlling the lust I feel all the time by nature. The message in this book is that you have a pure, natural intuitive standard inside of you that may be completely independent of your culture, like some vision you might have that you're a strong, noble warrior of peace here to improve the world in a big way, or it might be a partial manifestation from your culture, like you're a strong, muscular guy so you take on what's available, which is to play hockey, which is as close to natural as you can get within your culture. Either way, you're being true to who you are by nature. If you follow this path by releasing that natural energy inside of you day after day with some manner passion for the process, you will always be in harmony with yourself throughout your lifetime. If you stray from what is natural within your free spirit, you will always be out of harmony with yourself in some way. The more you betray your free spirit by not releasing the natural energy inside of you, the more this unused energy weighs on your soul and makes you feel miserable within your spiritual life force. This unused energy builds up over time, causing more and more misery within oneself. When you betray yourself to a point of critical mass, you enter a state that starts with generic mundanity, like every day is dull and average with no euphoric highs or inspired feelings of transcendence. Quite often, as you betray yourself even more by sitting around not doing much of anything beyond being passively entertained, drinking alcohol and eating junk food, you spiral deeper down into depression and emptiness. This is all caused by not releasing the natural energy inside of you. The psychobabblists with their massive mental health industry seem to miss the simple fact that when people violate who they are by nature day after day, this is one of the biggest causes of misery, mental illness, loss of self and psychosis in the human condition. There's a free audiobook on LibriVox.org or YouTube called The Science of Being Well by Wallace D. Wattles from 1909, where they say do what is natural and vital to you day after day to increase health and well-being. It's natural to be active, inspired and exuberant like a child, but most of us get beaten down by pursuing the artificial values of the world. Then we try to take the edge off with its trinkets, which are mainly passive entertainment, consumer goods, and junk food. We have lost the connection to our free spirits. Before I ever listened to this audiobook, I developed my own theory of life called free spiritism, which is that I must release most of my natural energy day after day with love and lust for the process if I'm to keep a close connection to who I really am in my essence as a human being. This is inspired, sexual, loving, hedonistic, aesthetic and practical energy. I must purge it out of me to feel good all the time. If I don't release this energy, I start to lose myself and sink into depression, which is why my life revolves around a conscious need to release all this natural energy inside of me every day, mostly inspired energy, which is physical and creative intellectual energy for me. When I was young, I knew I had to work out every day and do something creative when I rested at night. I didn't know why. I figured out after I analyzed my life for years on end that I had to purge this life energy out of myself in order to feel like a champion of my life. The journey of life for enlightened people is the journey to your free spirit. In all of Joseph Campbell's stories of heroes, the end is always the same. The world is the scenery through which the individual eventually discovers that he has the power of God or the power of the universe already inside of him, called his soul, free spirit, essence, purity, or true nature. Look at any life epic like The Wizard of Oz, The Odyssey, or The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. They're all the same. The naive person journeys out into the world, is beaten down by rotten people, but has some fun adventures too. This is all part of the learning experience. The person gets stronger, rises up like the phoenix from the ashes to realize the experience or journey itself is the treasure. They are the same holistic essence before and after all their experiences. The prize is to know who you are in your true nature and know that this is your unique solitary ride of life, to know that this is as good as it gets, to be comfortable in your own skin, that there is nothing out there that is going to elevate your life all that much. All joy comes from within oneself. Most people don't know this. They look out into the world for the glitter. Enlightened people know that you create joy through how you live. You don't get it by going to a concert, eating an expensive cake, buying a new dress, etc. After all his or her adventures and tragedies, the naive life seeker finds himself alone again in that essence that is his consciousness. He realizes that this is the most valuable thing he owns, the divine force inside of him given by the creator of the universe, God. People go out into the world looking for fame, fortune, and fulfillment. The wise ones eventually realize they live alone in their heads. They either create a great adventure in there or a dull, meaningless life looking for transient pleasures or some other meaningless distraction. The real battle after your basic needs of food, clothing, and shelter are met is to stay inspired about your life day after day. Do that by answering to your free spirit by trying to release most of your natural inspired energy day after day. The great dream is to rise to release most of your natural inspired energy day after day. This is a full life. Suppose you accomplish a great dream today. That will make you feel good for today and maybe for 2 days after that. Then you must renew your spirit by meeting your inner standard of accountability again. It never ends for the tough, enlightened people. Regular people pursue passive entertainment. Life warriors try to get that high inspired feeling over and over again. You are who you are by nature. The world can cover this over with artificial dreams, cravings, and desires. Through it all, you always have a free spirit. If you're enlightened, your life is lived accountable to it. That's it. You seek nothing more or less than that. You will die. Why should anyone fear anything? Is fear rational and good? Just live by your true nature to the best of your ability day after day. Life is lived in minutes at a time. If you live by honoring your true nature all the minutes of your life, that's as good as it can get, you being who you really are naturally without getting sucked into the world telling what to do. Nobody knows the future, so don't plan too much. The only certainty is that the free spirit you feel within yourself is all you really own. Trust it. Live by it? I've explored the eternal soul as I discuss later. I believe my soul is eternal. How else could I possibly live than to try to release whatever is good and inspired from within my soul? There's nothing else for me. I don't care about the trinkets of the world. Just be true to myself day by day. You can live through the whole spectrum of human sensations in one day, so every day has the potential to be a great experience of being alive or a passive, gluttonous experience of consumption. The only universal certainty is that it's better to be loving and kind than not. It will make relations with people go better and might get you into heaven. Your treasure is where your free spirit is. The story of a life. I was brought up a Catholic. At the age of 5 in catechism class, we first learned about the evil temptress Eve and the devil in the Garden of Eden. Then right after that, we learned about Cain killing his own brother Abel. There is a dark, evil, self-centered side in every human being. Release whatever is good in you. Control whatever is evil in you, which is mostly anger, jealousy, and the desire to get something for nothing, as in stealing or exploiting people. I don't think lust in the mind is evil because it's natural. It's only evil if you go beyond yourself to impose it on others. In Pilgrim's Progress, John Bunyan leaves on a journey from earth to heaven. As he and his conductor travel, they look back at earth getting smaller and smaller. The conductor says so many men have destroyed themselves trying to get a little piece of that earth for themselves. All they own is their spirit. It's the most sacred thing you own. It's all you really own, your exuberance or love of life. No amount of money can give anyone a strong, boundless, vital free spirit that enjoys the adventure and thrill of life. Youth doesn't automatically equate with a natural sense of inspiration, especially in the sad world we live in with all the artificial stuff pumped into us over the airwaves all the time. The thing that has real value in life is the ability to constantly be inspired and release that natural God-given energy inside of you with love and lust for the process. Releasing natural energy is the key to an inspired, sensual, noble life. Søren Kierkegaard said the joy of life is to feel boundless all the time, like life has infinite pleasant, powerful possibilities. How does any individual do that? There is only one way. You must constantly release that natural energy inside of you to match or outdo the power or standard you feel in your divine soul given to you by your Creator. You must live in harmony with what you feel by expending that energy every day. What is an eternal feeling of peace? It's to honor who you feel you were born to be by nature or divine providence by releasing that natural energy and or becoming that person day by day, one day at a time, every day actively striving to fulfill your destiny, which is to pursue the life purpose you feel within yourself. Every human being is mortal. You have a choice. Release what is inspired, good, wholesome, hedonistic, pleasurable, lusty and good within yourself. Seek artificial power by trying to control other people. Seek carnal pleasures by trying to fill yourself up with something physical like food, drugs, alcohol, material goods, and pop culture entertainment. To me, these things put you out of harmony with yourself. We were created to be active, to do things for our own good and maybe the good of others. All you own is your free spirit and your body. Keep it strong and pure by releasing whatever natural energy is inside of you day after day. If you don't do this, after a certain amount of time, this unused energy builds up inside of you, causing misery, telling you through your inner voice that you feel bad, but you might not know exactly why. It's because you are betraying who you were created to be by nature by not releasing this natural energy inside of you. Self-respect and a sense of well-being come from releasing most of your natural energy every day with some kind of joy, passion, or at least a desire to be true to who you feel you are. If you don't do this, this unused energy sits inside of you and starts rotting your body, mind, and soul away. Our indoctrination to life in the modern world separates most of us from a connection to our true natures to some extent. This is the unsung tragedy in the modern-day human condition. This is why I was never happy as a teacher, because it was not who I really was. Granted, you can't have everything, but if you don't have this primal connection to who you really are and release that energy constantly, You end up a lost soul. If you don't know your true nature and therefore don't release that natural energy inside of yourself, it doesn't matter how successful you are according to world standards or how much money you have, you will feel a certain amount of emptiness within yourself because you're not living by your true nature and free spirit. When I was young, I used to work in bars and catch a buzz almost every night. It was all good at the time, but it was a mask to distract me from discovering who I really was. You can hide in distractions like watching TV, reading novels, getting high, partying, gossiping or talking to strangers online, but all these things are ways for weak people to avoid facing themselves. The noble individual discovers who he or she is, then honors it. A lot of people live their entire lives without ever peeling off these outer layers of phoniness and distraction. I know because I have made it a point to talk to old people about their lives. I get right to the point to ask them about purpose and meaning in life. Many are so indoctrinated by the world system that they don't see themselves as pure individuals away from all that, even at their advanced ages. So I know for sure that age doesn't automatically bring wisdom. Plenty of people go through life never examining themselves much as individuals. Everybody spends most of their time alone. When you peel off the stuff from the outside world, the question is, how accountable are you to the person God created you to be? The wisdom of life is about knowing who you are in your free spirit, which comes from whatever created you. You have one essence, nature, or soul, and that's it. You are who you are. The strongest and happiest you can ever be is to follow it, as opposed to following the artificial values of the world or being a consumer spectator not doing much of anything. The problem is paying your way. People who follow their true natures or free spirits often have a hard time working regular jobs or selling what they create that they might think has some value for the human race, but the bottom line is, when you sell your soul and or your time to work a job to take on some agenda that is not inherent to you, over time, you end up destroying the powerful, light, easygoing, spiritual, aesthetic, noble part of yourself. That's the trade-off: financial security versus the free time to live your life as an exploratory adventure or to live according to what you feel is right. Life seekers typically explore the outside world until they discover their own natural, intuitive standard inside of themselves. Then everything is simple. They don't need all that stuff from the outside world anymore, constantly pounding at us all the way from the mass media to the social sciences. I traveled around the world, made it a point to meet a bunch of different people, read a bunch of books, took a lot of college courses, did a lot of drugs. Then one day I realized I had seen it all. After all that seeking of wisdom, I was still the same me with the same pure essence I always had. All that seeking out in the world for answers led me to one thing, that it was basically a bunch of nothingness next to the natural standard inside of me. But the thing is that I had to do this journey, because if I didn't, I never would have known that it's all just minor scenery next to what's inside of oneself. If I had been a bumpkin who stayed in my hometown, I would still be that wide-eyed kid with a curiosity about the great unknown, like I was when I was 17 and went to a military college. It was a big adventure then, but now I know I have only one standard of accountability, which is to be who I feel I was created to be by God or nature. The other big thing is the lies of the world. They create these big formal academic fields called the social sciences, where they do a bunch of meaningless studies and pretend they have advanced knowledge about the human condition, but it's all a bunch of crap. I think the mainstream media is a big, made-up story geared to control people and keep them in line as pacified consumers. I think a lot of political news stories about the state of world affairs are part of a soap opera created by very wealthy, powerful people with a certain agenda on the direction of the human race. I think they create the story, then manipulate conditions so that it plays out and is reported the way they want. I know that the true nature of man is selfish and carnal. My standard is to not hurt other people, animals, or the planet as with nature. I need to release my sexual energy. I can do it without hurting others. I wrote a sex superbook because I'm a slave to my hormones by nature. I don't abide by Matthew 5:28 or whatever it is, because every man lusts every day by nature. Purging sexual energy is necessary for a calm, peaceful life. Material goods can't increase happiness beyond the basics. Financial security can give peace of mind, but actual material things can't cause a true uplifting experience of the euphoric sensations to a level of joy or transcendence. If they do, like if you feel rapturous over a new house or a car, you're in deep trouble because you're buying into the lies of materialism which doom you into constantly buying stuff to try to fill the emptiness in your soul. Material things are functional. That's it. It's not normal to get excited about a new car or a new dress. These are ideas indoctrinated into us. You experience joy through what you do. Material things are just dead stuff. There should be no emotion attached to them. It's massive brainwash. The Bible says be content if you have food and clothing. The path to ruin starts when we want material things over spiritual things. This is the big brainwash in the modern world. The marketing machine sells us the idea that happiness comes from constantly buying new things. Happiness comes from releasing whatever is natural, pure, and good in your free spirit with passion and conviction for the process day after day. If you don't do this, you have an average, mundane spirit. Who cares what you're surrounded by? It's what you do that fuels a feeling of goodness and fullness within yourself. I have to live in the world. I see evil, mean, selfish behavior every day. I have to try to love my fellow man even though I'm cynical after a lifetime of experience. My job is to be kind and good with whatever power there is inside of me. I don't judge people. I avoid confrontation as much as possible. I never argue because I don't have to prove anything to anybody. Schopenhauer said when you're 20 years old, life is like the opening curtain of a stage play, but when you're 45, it's like the final curtain. It's a point of a permanent loss of inspiration and lust for life. It happens to most people by 40 even though just about everybody denies it. Nobody wants to admit they live in a permanent state of generic mundanity day after day. Life loses its luster for most people when they build up so much unused energy within themselves that the level of self-betrayal is almost a permanent albatross around their necks. They live in a state of permanent blandness. There are no highs. There is no intense inspiration. Sex drive is probably low too. The big challenge is to figure out how to stay inspired and excited throughout your entire life. You have to go into your own soul to find the adventures, mysteries, and inspiration. I went to military college with a cool guy by the name of Paul M. 30 years later, I saw him on TV being interviewed as a naval commander. I almost didn't recognize him. I had to wait for a rerun of the news to get a closer look. He was a fun, dashing, handsome young man when I knew him. We were a little in crowd of nonconformists who understand that they were trying to indoctrinate us to be obedient clones in their system. He was one of us. Now he had a double chin. Whatever natural vital life force he once had was long gone. According to the world he is successful, but the truth is that he is a shadow of the easygoing, naturally inspired man he once was. He lost a connection to his free spirit. This is the double standard I'm talking about. I can look at the cover of Forbes magazine for any given month. Anybody on that cover is touted as a winner in the world, but most of them do not look like they have a strong connection to the primal aesthetic free spirit within themselves. It doesn't look like there's much natural joy going on there. You're enlightened when you know that God gave you your soul. All you got is the power and free will to follow it. If you do this, you live true to yourself. If you don't, you're out of harmony with yourself. The vast majority of people live by artificial values, which is part of the reason why there is so much evil, sadness, and misery in the world. I was expressing my own true nature and moral code at 5 years old. I can still remember some of my consciousness from those days, but then I went to school. I took on the world's artificial values. I was never a terrible person, but I did some really stupid things like trying to be a disco duck back in the day. I had the arrogance of youth and the alpha male attitude. I was trying to buy happiness by buying home decor, fashionable things, and macho toys. Then in one gestalt moment of clarity, I realized the world is screwed. I'm not. I realized I have a true nature. That's the most sacred thing I own. I will not follow the world's marketing machine anymore. What is life if you can't try to reach the inspired aesthetic highs of life day after day by releasing the natural energy in your free spirit/soul with intensity and love for the process to match an intuitive standard you should feel within yourself of who you were born to be? Most of us sap our souls by working dull jobs, but we get financial security while the bohemian artist hippies worry about ending up homeless. Chapter 2. What's real in life? 2. The purpose of life. A free spirit's search for enlightenment is about the pursuit of an inspired sensual noble lifestyle, trying to reach the spiritual aesthetic highs of life day after day by releasing the natural energy in your free spirit/soul with intensity and love for the process to match an intuitive standard you should feel within yourself of who you were born to be. You might have a job, some money, loved ones, friends, and pets, but it's still you alone. Most love connections fade. The strong ones stay, but you still spend the vast majority of your time alone in your head. For some people, it's just a straight battle to pay bills or get through the day without much pain because of bad health. A great life is like dancing, swimming, creating something or whatever. I can do that, run and get that high feeling. If I want a strong, inspired sensibility, I have to do it almost every day. You need rest days to regenerate and incubate. It's like the race of life to touch those high points when you're exerting yourself from the soul with some manner of intensity and love for the process. If you have the health and the financial means to strive to touch the highest reaches of the human condition through inspired sensual living, it's all you got, a brief moment to do your version of the untamed, strong, wild, free, primally charged lion. Then you either get brainwashed by the world's way of doing things or get old and die. Constantly release your natural energy to have a light, strong spirit. A comfortable job pays the bills and then some, but it's like the lives of quiet desperation Henry David Thoreau talked about. There's nothing else really unless you can improve the world in a big way quickly, but the shadow elitists keep good ideas down so that they keep all the power. That's another story. We could live in a much kinder, better world very easily, but people with power try very hard to keep us all a bunch of disjointed loners, so we don't unite and do it. I created the People Power program to change the world that I talk about elsewhere. We all have a true nature essence soul free spirit that gets covered over by the artificial values of the world, but it's all anyone really owns from birth to death. My true nature is made up of a natural intuitive standard of who I should be and how I should live. Every morning when I wake up, I have a certain amount of potential natural energy inside of me. The only way to feel really good is to release most of this natural energy throughout the day. If I don't do this, I'm betraying who my Creator God made me to be. How simple can you get? This is the real battle of life. Release most of your inspired, loving, sexual, sensual, hedonistic and practical energy to match an intuitive standard you should feel within yourself of who you were born to be. Self-respect and a sense of well-being come from releasing most of your natural energy every day with intensity and love for the process. If you don't do this, this unused energy sits inside of you and starts rotting your body, mind, and soul away. Modern-day psychobablists say depression is caused by a biochemical balance in the brain and possibly some morbid situation from your childhood that still bothers you on a hidden subconscious level. Depression is really self-betrayal, not releasing one's natural energy to the point where it builds up so much that a person feels miserable but probably doesn't know why. They just know they feel empty. People wonder why they feel a gnawing sense of emptiness despite being successful at their jobs. It's because they are following the artificial values of the world and not their free spirits. I was successful as a teacher. I still felt empty until I discovered I have a natural inherent standard that I must honor that has nothing to do with the world I was brought up to buy into. You are nothing more or less than a free spirit with a certain amount of natural energy inside of you. The best life anyone can live is to release most of this natural energy day after day until you die. Release what you were born to do, then go to an afterlife if you believe in one and it in fact exists. If not, the best life is still to live in harmony with your true nature by releasing most of that natural energy every day. Lies they sold you about life. It's just you alone with your free spirit and a sense of accountability to honor it by releasing that natural energy every day. That's it. Everything else is the artificial values of the world thrust over who you really are in your essence. It's not about artificial rules, steps, or stages about how to conquer the world capitalist style like a robot, because these things never work. Mechanical ways to live deteriorate after 3 days at the most. Suppose you write down every self-help rule, habit, life strategy, and stages every famous self-help guru ever created. They'll all be gone after a few days because they're not natural. Ultimately, all these people offer empty, transient, discreet, one-liner shots of motivation that never last. I see those crowds on TV every week at the current famous self-help guru's church. He gives his inspirational speech. The people feel good, then an hour later, it's all gone because inspiration comes from within a person's soul/free spirit. Other people can't pump you up. The hard part is discovering you have a pure standard within yourself that is distinct from everything you have ever been indoctrinated by. Then there's New Age fraud about the universe giving well-intentioned people what they want, which is a lie, because Jesus, Joan of Arc, Galileo, Socrates, JFK, Milk, Gandhi, John Lennon, and many others got killed for trying to be good people, but New Age gurus seem to have missed this in their law of attraction hype. The most well-intentioned people in the world are probably artists and activists. Most of them end up with lots of rejection. The world doesn't give most of them an equitable return for their efforts, but they keep going because it's who they are. The law of attraction and the secret is magical, Pollyanna, wishful thinking. It's fraud. It's a lie. It ruins people's lives when they take on naive ideas that the world is good, so when they trust some charlatan in good faith believing they are doing the right thing by the law of attraction, they learn the truth very quickly by getting burned. This includes religious preachers saying that God favors his people to be prosperous. It's not true. God wants you to be a modest person doing good works. God says those that are last here are first in heaven. The treasures of life are in heaven, not on earth. God doesn't do favors for people so that they can get rich, pay off their bills, or buy a new car. You can see preachers preaching this prosperity gospel all the time on TV, but it's all a fraud. Pleasure, material comfort, and spiritual emptiness. There is pleasure and material comfort. Releasing natural inspired energy is a noble kind of pleasure. The world sells us everything from junk food to movies as low-level carnal pleasures. Where is the line of earning self-respect and a sense of well-being through what you do versus indulging yourself with frivolous pleasures like fashion, gossip, beer, pop culture, video games, home decor, etc.? Where is the standard of accountability within anyone to try to honor who they were born to be by God and nature? What is a meaningless life? To me, it's doing almost nothing except couch potato-like activities and/or working jobs just for the money that rot a person's soul day by day, because what you do is not inherent to the natural powers, talents, and potential you have inside of you to do something has meaning both to you and to others. The greatest tragedy of the human condition that almost no one talks about is that most of us betray our true natures by taking on the artificial values of the world, but at the same time, many people who live by their true natures are starving artists, thinkers, dreamers, activists, writers, and inventors barely able to pay their bills. So who's right? I don't know. I just express what I feel following my true nature. What are the intense pleasures beyond sex and drugs? It's a freeing of the spirit through doing intense loving, inspired and/or sensual activities. I feel good for a while when I'm affectionate with people and pets. I feel good when I hear good music, but the only hardcore way I can feel this freeing effect is when I work hard at physical or creative intellectual aesthetic pursuits. What is a light spirit? What is a fun life? To me, a light-hearted spirit is when you've sweated hard purging whatever might be tough, strong, inspired, lusty, vital, or beautiful inside of you day after day. It gives you that certain feeling of self-respect and goodness. Is this what fun is, or is fun going to some event and watching it, eating a bag of chips, hanging around with your friends? I think life is a mix. You can't be too serious or too frivolous. If you go to an extreme in anything, you end up a morbid, meaningless person full of crap. What can anyone possibly do day after day to feel good all the time? If you do drugs, go out to see shows, eat whatever you want, pursue casual sex and other hedonistic pleasures, after a while, your soul, free spirit, or true nature starts talking to you saying you're betraying yourself. This is not what you were born to be. Some of it is fun, but beyond a certain point, it starts destroy whatever sense of dignity you have about yourself. For me, there's only one way to stay inspired day after day. You have to release the natural energy inside of you to a point where you feel kind of euphoric, like you've accomplished something and you're feeling your spirit fully engaged in being alive. People constantly worried about money wither away into stress. Some extreme artists create no matter what. Most people need some financial peace of mind in order to move on to the noble, inspired pursuits of life. Ideas, energy, and spirit are all anyone has in the end. You'll die and take nothing with you. Release this stuff inside of you every day and you reach some modicum of well-being. Don't release it and your life is not so hot. That's it. Everything else is the lie and pretenses the world tries to brainwash us with. I can see it on the tube every day, all them ads. You should feel a natural intuitive standard within yourself that drives you to want to release most of that natural energy throughout the day. This was a great life for him. He is touted as one of our great geniuses. I read one of the Nikola Tesla biographies. He was still working on his notes every day long after his investors dumped him. He had to purge that natural God-given energy inside of himself. This is the bottom line about happiness over a lifetime. All that psychobabble I see, like that PBS show where the guy gives a bunch of trivial one-liner tips that he supposedly got from advanced studies on happiness at Harvard University, prove that they don't get it. They're so brainwashed by their quantitative research methods that they don't understand that every individual is a holistic essence. You are one engine. It's either powerful and strong or not. No amount of little self-help life makeover tips are gonna matter much. That engine is either got it going on or it doesn't, like a real engine in a car. Everything has to be on right now. Be true to whatever that holistic purity tells you to do through your inner voice, intuition, soul-free spirit. The most logical, simplest way to live if you want to be in harmony with your true nature, which is a peaceful, happy state of being, is to release most of this energy to match or exceed an intuitive standard you should feel within yourself of who you were born to be, what you were born to do. Most of the self-help, psychobabble and philosophy in the world is all about either grand noble ideas about living to your full potential to be self-actualized. They give you these vague ideas but don't tell you how to do them day by day. Setting goals as though you're a robot on a logical mission. Setting a life purpose for a great ideal, like to honor who God created you to be. The problem with all this is that life is lived in minutes at a time. Life flows in an average, mundane way almost everywhere. People want to feel some kind of pleasure or goodness right now. Life is a mix of pursuing great inspired ideas that come from your soul and a desire for the sensations of love, sex, sensuality, hedonism, and low-level carnal pleasures like food. It's noble to pursue the natural inspiration in your soul, but purge that pleasure-seeking energy too. You have to. If you don't, you'll end up tired and dejected. All work, even work you love to do, gets monotonous sometimes. It's like Zorba the Greek, you need to dance too. Rhythm is in everyone's soul. Let it out sometimes. That's what free spiritism is. Get past all your cultural indoctrination to feel the natural pulse of your life. Just don't break any laws or hurt other people, animals, or the planet in the process. People want a feeling of pleasure now. Our consumer society is based on delivering things like fast food, porn, tweets, romance novels, movies, funny TV shows, video games, etc. Most people can't live by natural inspiration alone. It gets old too. You need a break. You need to mix it up. My main point is that all you really got that has value is your sense of natural inspiration, but it's not the only thing you got. If you have money, you can buy a bunch of crap to entertain yourself with, which is good to a point. Just don't get lost in that stuff. Use it to live a full life. The only way to feel noble is to answer to your free spirit and release that natural inspired energy inside of you all the time. Nothing else is going to give a feeling of fulfillment. A loving relationship won't fulfill you because it's not enough. There is an inner accountability to your God-given soul that only you can answer or ignore, in which case you will feel the misery of the unfulfilled life. I understand that most people have to work hard to earn money just to pay the bills for a modest standard of living. This is the hard part of life. We have to earn money to pay bills. Most jobs are not aligned to what we feel in our true nature, soul's free spirits. What do you do? I can't answer that for anyone other than myself. I made my choice. I feel all I really own is my time. I don't care about material things much, so I don't need to waste my time much working dull jobs just to make money to get by. Most people release energy throughout the day that is not natural to who they really are. We are biological animals. We were not created to sit in offices and use electronic gadgets. It's not natural. Releasing artificial energy is energy in pursuit of the artificial values of the world, like working a job you don't like or taking a course you have no real interest in. Most people work jobs they don't really like. They release energy that is artificial to their true natures. This causes stress and rots their souls over time. People feel lonely. They want deep, intimate connections with other people. The truth is that you live alone in your own head. No one else will ever really know you intimately. Some people get close and keep a kindred spirit, friendship bond throughout life, but I wrote a love-lust book where countless big studies concluded that most marriages degenerate to superficial pragmatic friendships after 3 years. Make peace with your existential loneliness. The search for love and intimacy is paraded all over TV as a marketing tool to try to get people to buy something. Most people will not get these great love images and ideals created by the entertainment and advertising industries, so don't destroy yourself looking for an illusion that probably doesn't exist for most people because they're average. They don't inspire great, lusty, passionate love in other people. Most people can find a mate, but it's probably not gonna be some fantasy soulmate. It's gonna be an average person that you don't really love strongly, but you think it's better than being alone. The only certainty is your inner soul or free spirit. This is what your Creator God endowed you with, this unique nature that's all yours. In all likelihood, there is no one else with that mix of spirit and energy that you have. The best life would be to live by it because it is your true nature, but then the reality of earning money and the people in your life get in the way. No matter what, this will be the only constant in your life. This holistic feeling of consciousness you feel is the pure you. It will be the same as it is now just before you die, provided you don't alter your brain through drugs, injury, or a degenerative disease. Try to be the person it tells you to be. The normal way the average human being lives is that they're not aware that honoring their true nature by releasing their natural energy every day is the key to happiness. They're caught in a mix of following some ideas the world is trying to sell them as the cool, fun, successful way to be. Most people betray themselves by not releasing that natural energy inside of themselves, so they feel bland or empty all the time. This is normal. You can't possibly feel really good unless you release a good dose of natural inspired, loving, sexual, hedonistic and / or practical energy every day. If you constantly release the natural energy within yourself, you can live a pretty good life right to the end, even in limited form as an old person whose spirit is fading away due to normal physical decline. Spiritual emptiness is a big epidemic. People feel empty despite having well-paying jobs, nice cars, good food, etc. The cause is often not releasing that inspired, lusty, sensual, transcendent energy that lives somewhere inside of everyone's soul. God supposedly created us for His pleasure. He gets pleasure when He sees us being ourselves fully, when we do something great or outdo ourselves in releasing whatever is natural inside of us in a positive, uplifting way. The answer to a good to great life is do what's good, fun, exhilarating, sensual, inspired, loving, wholesome and positive. The only righteous standard is to rise up and meet that inner standard that God put inside of you that makes you accountable to yourself. To ignore this is a life of constant gnawing emptiness, which is a feeling that something is not quite right, peaceful, or harmonious in your life. Your engine is your free spirit. Honor it by releasing that natural energy inside of it day after day until you die. If you can do that, you'll be a hero among the human race, and God will take you into heaven because you honored who He created you to be. You manifested His plan for you. You made that potential He put into you real. You did it on your own because you have free will. God gave you free will. You had to do it yourself. God didn't give you any breaks. That's the highest thing you can ever do in life, become who you were born to be by releasing whatever is positive in your nature while keeping your anger and lust private and controlled. Simply be true to yourself by listening to the voice in your soul God gave you regardless of outcome in the world. It's all you really ever got, that sense of accountability within yourself. You're either honoring it, therefore living in harmony with your true nature, or not honoring it, therefore feeling average, mundane and miserable about yourself. Free spirit means you have the freedom to do whatever you want to explore your life, but there's really no freedom because enlightenment is simple. It comes down to one thing. You go out into the world and see what's out there. Some of it might help you discover what is natural and inherent to you. At some point you realize all you really got is a voice, song, or feeling in your essence or soul. You have to follow it by releasing energy to that end every day. That's it. That's as good as life gets, being true to yourself. I believe people have eternal souls that merge back to God if an individual followed the Christian path in life. I think most of the stuff for sale out in the world doesn't mean much next to what you feel in your spirit as you live your life. The real prize, day after day, is to earn your self-respect and a sense of goodness through what you do. It can be hard because it's so easy to sit back and be entertained. I think this is the big tragedy of modern society. No matter what you're dealing with in life, when you go for a walk, you're releasing natural energy. You earn self-respect. It does something good for your soul. You feel good for at least a little while. Some old philosopher said as soon as somebody starts working on something worthy, they immediately start to feel good. When a person sets to work, even if it is the most unqualified, primitive, simple work, the human soul calms down. As soon as a person starts to work, all the demons leave him and cannot approach him. A man becomes a man. Thomas Carlyle. Your responsibility in life is to listen to your free spirit and release that natural energy for your own pleasure, to feel good and to do something worthy to help others. Be a positive person. If you can't do that, at least be neutral. Don't bother others. Don't start arguments. Be polite. Be a positive force for planet Earth. Don't exploit it, abuse it, or pollute it. Take what you need for modest comfort and leave the rest. What is greatness? Stephen Covey wrote a book about the 7 habits of highly effective people, which misses the essence of life because people weren't created to be effective. Life should be a glorious, passionate affair of the free spirit, but his book struck a chord with people seeking capitalist success way back in 1989. He later wrote a book about his 8th habit, which was to seek greatness, seek to be great, strive to do something to change the world. A lot of TV commercials try to identify with this theme of greatness, like trying to associate their products with innovation, progress, sleekness, newness, and change. I saw a few senior citizen New Age gurus say go into old age fearlessly, seeking to do something great as part of your life's work. I think these are great ideals, but when I go around my neighborhood, I see the garbage man, the old man walking his dog, the lawn care guy, the home contractors, people walking home with their groceries, and plenty of cars zooming past. It seems like everything is all set up for us on TV, kinda like be some clone who works some average job, watches sports on TV and drinks beer. For girls, it's like try to imitate the celebrities and buy all those clothes and cosmetics they're constantly trying to sell you. It seems like if anything is gonna change, It's gonna be done by the shadow elitists who run the world and own the media. They can put anything out there in the mainstream they want to brainwash the masses with. Every week, I see them hyping up generic movies as the next new big thing, and they almost always make a profit because they're still doing it. Most individuals don't have a chance unless the mainstream marketing machine is willing to market them. I've seen many great ideas on the internet that get no recognition or publicity. That's the way it often works, but don't lose heart. What else is there if you don't have a dream and big ideas? It's a great state of being if you can live like this. I applaud you if you're trying to live a greatly inspired, noble life, trying to do something big to improve the world. How does anyone stay inspired day after day? There's only one way. Release the energy in your free spirit with some kind of conviction that you have a great purpose in life, like me with my People Power program, but I figure I'm ahead of my time so I don't sweat it. I think the world is screwed. People will live their little lives. I'll live my life. We'll all die, then we'll move on to God's territory. Do we have eternal souls? What if there is life after death? What if evolution didn't happen? Charles Darwin and many others say there are no transitional fossils of one organism into another. It's as if all these organisms came in one fell swoop. The most basic law of science is that matter cannot be created or destroyed. It can be transferred to another state but not destroyed. If this is true, then how were we created? Is there something higher than science that created us, a supernatural force of the universe? Everybody feels the pain of being betrayed by others. Some people feel betrayed by the whole human race. They think it's rotten, that the world is screwed. They might be bitter, mean, and angry. What if you're mean, bitter, and angry when you die? Will your hardened heart take you to a place called hell? I've watched hundreds of near-death experience stories on YouTube. Some were positive. Many were trips into hell. Some were the result of suicide attempts. I've watched many angel videos, ayahuasca vision quests, and studied death beliefs and customs across cultures and history. I did this because I thought I felt dark supernatural forces in my head tell me to do negative things. They were a few brief voices that I knew instantly came from beyond me. It wasn't just me daydreaming. It was like someone whispering to me. There is a lot of consistency from many disparate sources about what happens when you die. Your spirit leaves your body. You are either enveloped by a great feeling of love or demons taking you to hell. If you ever get to that place where demons are taking you to hell when you're in spirit form after you die, they say the sure solution is to call out desperately and loudly for Jesus to save you, like Ian McCormack and many others did. You have to accept that Jesus died on the cross to give you the grace of eternal life, so if you're ever in a desperate situation, you got nothing to lose by accepting Jesus as your personal savior. Will you take that chance that there is either no life after death or that you might end up in hell if you do not accept Jesus Christ as your personal savior, repent of your sins, and try to be a good person? I know that everybody constantly feels anger and lust. It's part of being human. Can you control it and try to be a good force of humanity, even if it's just for the selfish reason of getting into heaven when you die? The intention might be the most important thing, but it's hard to love the human race when society tells us to hoard what we can and constantly upgrade our home decor. If the human race was really loving, we would share what we have and there would be no poverty or homelessness anywhere, because there is enough for everybody right now, but we in the West have most of it while many people starve every day. I know God says to love your fellow man, but I think it's impossible because we're selfish by nature. I say try to respect people. Be nice and polite. If I were to love my fellow man, I would be in pain all the time because of seeing all the pain and suffering going on. It's a hard way to live, to take the pain and suffering of your fellow man as your burden. People would say you're a masochist. Leo Tolstoy said, how could anyone be happy when they're aware of all the pain and suffering in the world? If there is life after death, will you risk not entering heaven because of the way you're living now? You have to forgive yourself for what you see as where you messed up in life. You have to forgive everybody that you think wronged you somehow. I mean everybody regardless of what they did. You can't find peace, love, or eternal life unless you do this. You have to do this if you want your spirit to connect with God's Spirit. You must repent of all your sins. You must pray to Jesus Christ and accept Him as your personal Savior. You put yourself into eternal damnation if you live the wrong life according to God's will. Try to live a good life full of love and compassion to the best of your ability. That's it. You choose. You have free will to live a good, righteous life or a self-centered, gluttonous to evil life. Why be kind, polite and generous? Simply because it's better not to alienate people. You never know when you might need someone's help or what they might do to retaliate against you for being mean, insensitive or evil to them. Beyond that, it's the universal rule for good human relations in every society. Respect your neighbors. Don't do bad things. It's also part of the path to heaven if you believe in any religion. Jesus said, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." Do you believe that? It's not hard to say you do. On YouTube.com, there are lots of videos of people in the depths of hell desperately hollering for Jesus to save them. There's a Jewish guy, Alan Anava, who said God judged him like a prosecutor asking what were the good deeds in the life. He had almost none. All the bad things he had ever done were right there on display at the same time. He transformed his life completely when he came back from that NDE. He said he desperately begged for God to get him out of there. His video on YouTube is a great story about life. The message is to use your life as an instrument for good somehow. If you don't, there could be a day when you're answering to a higher deity as though you're in a courtroom. All your good deeds will be presented next to you, shameful, bad acts. There are demons and guardian angels all over planet Earth in what they call the second heaven. The first heaven is planet Earth, trying to influence you, but you always make the final decisions about your life. There is a battle for your soul every day. The enemy wants you to turn to evil, which is anger and frustration. This is where my search for enlightenment led me. Your soul was given to you by your God. Trust and honor what it tells you to do. My final pseudo-religious rants. It's okay to have fun and pursue pleasure. The Bible was written by human beings, so it's full of contradictions and silly rules like Matthew 5:28, which says if you lust in your mind you have sinned. This is crazy. Every man lusts in his mind every day by nature. My only standard is the absolute standard of morality. Do not hurt people, animals, or nature. Use what you need but leave the rest. I pursue pleasure because it's natural, but I don't do it by using or exploiting other people. A free spirit doesn't care about the standards of success and happiness that the world has set up. He or she cares only about what they feel from the divine force within themselves. Your free spirit is the God force inside of you. That's it. It's not evil, at least it isn't in me. It's noble and great. I'm not narcissistic or arrogant. I know that in the grand scheme of the human race, my classification is something like aging bohemian hippie. No one takes me seriously, even though I believe I created the next big idea for the evolution of the human race called the People Power Program. I don't care what other people think. I've done my job by expressing my best positive ideas for humanity. If they reject it, that's their problem. I know in my soul I'm right. God knows I'm doing the right thing. That's good enough for me. Follow the laws of the world, but don't take anything anyone else says too seriously, including everything in the mainstream media, all the social sciences, all the psychobabble, self-help and philosophy ever created. There is just you and the free spirit given to you by your God. It's great to be self-indulgent and seek pleasure, but I believe most of us have some force within us that drives us to release this natural inspired energy that lives inside of us. I wrote a recreational drug user's book because I used to do a lot of drugs for fun and enlightenment. It's hard for me to get high anymore nowadays because my permanent state of being is now wired to be clean, straight, and pure, but I still like to get high every once in a while. I remember the time I got high on mushrooms when I was 23 and saw the story of man's inhumanity to man unfold in my mind's eye. I knew then that one of my purposes was to fight oppression. Elitists ruling others for their own selfish ends, which is what our representative democracies are, is the one big cause of all poverty, homelessness, inequality, pain, and suffering in the world. Under my system, the people would rule themselves by voting one by one on all the big issues over the internet. I even tell you how to take over the government very quickly in a peaceful way to run the PPP referendum. Will the people of the world listen to my sage advice? I'm not betting on it, but I know in my heart I did the right thing with the power inside of me. That's all you have to do. Are the people of the world enlightened enough to see that representative democracies are a fraud and set on a course to put the PPP into place, which will give them direct control of the money and the issues? Do the right thing as you feel it. The right thing is always the kindest, most loving thing. It's better to show love than to be right if the situation demands it. If you're an enlightened free spirit, you don't need ego boosts from other people. I never correct people who make minor mistakes, nor do I point it out if I catch someone in a lie if it's just meaningless social chatter. I'm never trivial about minor stuff. Ultimately it doesn't matter. I understand the fear of not having enough money to pay bills. There is a middle ground between fear of the future, uncertainty, and being a warrior of your life in trying to manifest whatever beauty, power, love, and lust lives inside of you. Material things by themselves can't make you happy. They can make you comfortable but not happy. Most of us will never do anything big enough to make us financially secure for life. On top of that, societies can change on a dime. Fortunes get wiped out because of what governments, the stock market, and the weather do. Then there's your health. Nobody is promised anything more than right now, today. It's just you with the connection to your soul. It could be strong or weak. You shouldn't care what other people say or think, because you live by an inner standard accountable to the divine force inside of you. I don't care about criticism or praise. I'm polite when people say things to me about me, but I think they sense that I could care less what they say, even if they tell me how fascinating I am. Flattery is a common low-level tactic used by psychopaths, so if somebody compliments me, I'm usually looking for an ulterior motive. That tells you how cynical I am about the human race, not about me but about the human race. When you're enlightened, you live in an insulated bubble in your mind. You have to live in the world, but you don't have to absorb any of the disgusting ways other people lie by. Life is really hard sometimes. Through it all you ever really got is that song and strength in your free spirit. I've gone through tragedies where I felt like dead man walking, but after a while I realized I have to get back to honoring who I was born to be by nature, otherwise I will end up a miserable mass of self-betrayal who sits around feeling sorry for himself. It's not that hard to do. Anyone who sits around all day not doing much of anything eventually starts to feel themselves rotting away. It leads to self-contempt. Get up off your ass. Do something, anything rather than nothing. I've noticed within me that overindulgence of frivolous things leads to feelings of self-betrayal too. I got caught up in materialism until I was about 25, when I realized I had over 50 shirts and was balking at giving one of them away to a poor buddy of mine who came over and said he was feeling cold. I caught myself being an asshole. I gave him a coat and a shirt. Shortly after that, I got rid of the meaningless things I owned. The moment of shame I had that afternoon when the words to the TV commercial hit me that some have so much while others have so little made me realize what a materialistic asshole I had become. Up until then, I was even buying home magazines, looking at home designs and stuff. All that stuff is meaningless to me. I see all those home decor shows on TV and think what a lost society we live in when they're shoving this crap down our throats on TV all the time. All that matters is the sanctity in your soul. Live as inspired as you can by releasing your natural energy with intensity and love for the process day after day. Be loving and peaceful. Your natural energy is the strength and power God put into you. You owe it to Him to use it up with gusto. Don't let it rot away. Strive to culture a lifestyle with the basic comforts but don't cross into frivolous extravagance. A great life happens through active, positive action from the soul day after day. Every day is a battle between good and evil. Everybody is tempted, even the holiest people. Love yourself and spread that love around. Try to have a peaceful, loving attitude. Try to love people. If you can't, try to be honest, polite, kind, helping and respectful, even if you don't like someone. Try to be at peace with everyone. Be modest and humble. You got nothing to prove to anyone but yourself. You don't have to try to be the hotshot in any crowd. Keep your mouth shut if you feel like saying something in anger. Help the poorest, most destitute people. Be kind to animals. When you have evil, angry, violent thoughts, cool down, control them. Don't act on them. When life is hard, stay cool. Live minutes at a time when you feel really dejected. The passage of time often softens the blows of our hardest hits. No matter what, you have to take your hits and keep honoring who you were born to be as best as you can. It's all you got. After all the crying, it's still just you answering to your soul. Do what you love to do. Try to learn something from your bad experiences. God gave you life. Show Him love by doing something great and worthy with it. Find a need and fill it. Find a problem and solve it. Honor the true nature God gave you to do something good with your life. A part of your true nature is carnal. You are sexual. You get angry and think violent thoughts, but you're also good. Most of us have wholesome ideas. We want to love and be loved. We want to feel like we belong in a community. We want to help other people. Shine your light onto the world. At the very least, people see you're trying to be positive, so they befriend you and help you out. What the great thinkers say about life. Try these 2 YouTube channels to see what our alleged great human thinkers say about life. Philosophy Overdose. Philosophies for Life. It's really simple once you get there, but the hard part is getting there. Then once you get there, it can still be a daily struggle to have the will to get up and release your natural energy. Dante Alighieri wrote the 7 deadly sins in the Divine Comedy for a reason, because all human beings are fallible, potentially lazy and evil. Everybody gets old. Aging brings a loss of willpower and natural inspiration. Enlightenment is simple. There has to be one Gestalt moment when you realize they might have taught you some useful stuff in grade school, in church, on TV, etc., but all you own and know for sure is that purity that is your true nature given by God or whatever created you at birth. Your only obligation in life is to follow it to fruition one day at a time through intuition/your free spirit. My contract with God or life is to release the natural energy inside of me almost every day, barring rest days, without buying into the artificial values of the world. All I own is an internal standard that tells me what to do to be happy with myself. All I own is my body and soul right here, right now. So what if my bank account says I'm worth $1 billion? What can I do with it? Buy a lot of cocaine, then overdose and die. I don't have the inner constitution to get people to do embarrassing things for money, which is why I would never hire a hooker. It's morally wrong. Everybody knows it. Somebody having sex for money violates the rule of respecting others. You're using this artificial thing called money to demean someone. It's rape. I have to earn a living out in the world, but beyond that, I own my soul and live by it without any kind of shame or conformity to the world. I simply don't care about the matrix called the outside world. I'll die alone in my own thoughts, facing my God. I'll age as well as I can, then die without being a sniveling coward about it. I have no pride in the world. I seek only superficial politeness with people, not deep conversations that could lead to disagreements. I'm cynical enough as it is after all those religion classes as a kid learning about how disgusting humans are in the Old Testament. Jesus said, "Love your fellow man." I find this an unnatural way of being. I try to be a decent, helpful person, but in order to avoid conflicts and avoid getting exploited or ripped off by others, I try to keep minimal contact with people in general. I'm happy by myself, thinking my own thoughts, doing what I feel is naturally right for me. I'm not gonna go out and kill somebody or rape them for thrills. I was watching the TV series Forensic Files on YouTube.com through a channel called Medical Detectives, Forensic Files. If you watch all 414 episodes, you realize a lot of people are evil, disgusting scumbags. A lot of human beings have no problem exploiting others. My other book, An Inspiration Guide, How to Feel Good, most of the time is mostly about what other people besides me say about how to feel good, happy, and peaceful. They all fail because they come out with lists, steps, strategies, and all that other one-liner crap. It's just about one thing. I am my true nature given by God. I owe it to the spirit of life to release this natural energy inside of me all the time to match my internal standard, not the evil stuff that everyone has inside of them: anger, greed, jealousy, violence, lust, addictions, gluttony, etc., but a mix of being a good, productive, useful person and being a harmless hedonist who doesn't hurt others in the process of getting my thrills. Chapter 3. What you want and what society wants. True Nature 1. Every self-help book written in human history offers discreet one-liners about what to do to improve your life, but none addresses the engine that is your soul, essence, or your true nature in a real way to show that happiness comes from a systematic release of the energy in your true nature or soul. Sadness or self-betrayal is the result of this natural energy not being used up, destroying a person from the inside. Fat and obesity are simply unused natural energy. They represent inner disharmony. First of all, it's a battle to discover you even have a true nature because the world indoctrinates you to its system. You might partially pursue your true nature as a clone within the system, but you'll never be fully enlightened until you discover you have this natural, intuitive standard within yourself of who you were born to be and how you should live day by day away from your cultural indoctrination in order to be in harmony with yourself, which means to feel good, light-hearted, and peaceful. You simply have to release most of that natural energy inside of you every day, which is different than the energy you might release pursuing the artificial values of the world, even though most of us have to do things not natural or inherent to our souls to earn a living. The battleground is to keep a light soul by constantly releasing this natural energy within yourself to be in harmony with your true nature. This earns self-respect and well-being. If you don't do this, you're betraying yourself. I believe self-betrayal is the most common cause of stress and mental illness. The problem is that the mental health industry seems to have missed it. This is why I say they're a bunch of boobs, creating a bunch of fake knowledge about human behavior, trying to brainwash the people with it, pretending they know something deep and advanced about the human condition, but they're really just a bunch of low-level clones hiding behind those stupid theories they created that don't make sense to real life, like the subconscious mind. It's a joke pretending that we have something hidden and mysterious inside of ourselves not known to us that only one of them mental health professionals can decipher and help us with for a hefty fee. They're all lies, but most of us are too brainwashed and intimidated by the fake mystique they put out about psychobabble to question it and say it's a bunch of crap. You either know your true nature and live to try to honor it, or you're just another generic lost soul brainwashed by the world, probably deluding yourself and or putting on airs about how cool and successful you are. The only real success is being true to your true nature. You are spirit and energy. Regardless of if you're poor, middle class, wealthy, Jew or Christian, you wake up every day a free spirit with unused natural energy inside of you. The few really wise people in life know this and set on a course to release that natural energy as they live. This keeps you in harmony with who your Creator God made you to be. Anything else is self-betrayal. You are simply energy and spirit to be used to have fun, live a rich life and do whatever you feel is right, just and useful to help your fellow man, the animals, and the planet. You are your memories and experiences. They make up your cloud of consciousness. Go through life trying to make that cloud of consciousness feel good through what you do and think. People with lots of money and status try to come off like they got something special. They got the same cloud of consciousness that is life as you do. It's about what you do and think, not what you own or your so-called status, which is what you think other people think of you, which is negligible because most people spend their time thinking about themselves, not about others. Granted, money buys peace of mind and financial security, but almost no one has permanent financial security or health for the rest of their lives because of the uncertainty of life itself. So the hell with it, all you got is now, minutes at a time. It's all you can really control, which is why I live one day at a time. For me, it's about releasing my natural energy and thinking positive thoughts. I can even create good fantasies and relish in good memories. It doesn't matter much where I am. My life is what I think and do. I read a story about a guy searching for the purpose of life, God, and the universe. He sought to discover what, if anything, could be done by a penniless, unknown man working on behalf of all humanity. Discover what you can do to help people, then figure out how to make money from it. There is loads of knowledge about how to live a good life or a better life. It all comes down to one thing. You are your true nature. Honor it by releasing that natural energy every day. Figure out a way to earn a living from it. Don't be ashamed of your sexuality. You have way more sexual energy than you can ever share with one person. I wrote a sex book because as I passed 45, I realized that I was as horny as I was when I was 20. I tried to be in monogamous relationships because society said that's love and happiness, but if you're enlightened, your true nature wins out. Be who your God created you to be day after day without getting tired or distracted by the glitter of the world. When you lay in bed at night naked, that's you. Someday you will die. That will still be you. Who are you? What is your purity? What matters between now and then? What will you do between now and then? The Hindus say the third eye is enlightenment. You get it through wisdom, willpower, and action. Wisdom is mostly listening to your true nature, then tailoring it to the real world you live in. You analyze your experiences and learn from other people, but at heart, the best life is simply releasing what is in your soul or true nature. That is the only thing that is divine in you. Dignity and self-respect have to be earned every day. You're only accountable to yourself in life. It doesn't really matter what other people say unless they have power over you, like they're paying your bills. There are websites around like LibriVox.org where you can listen to people reading the classic books for free. I was listening to Henry David Thoreau's books. It was amazing to me how he was talking about the institutionalization of man 150 years ago. He was asking, what is school supposed to do for you? Make you an independent, critical thinker. Make you a clone so you're a part of the system and do the routine like everyone else, even if you might have your own ideas of how to live and think. He was questioning school knowledge versus the knowledge doing your own thing in experiencing life and thinking about it. He was living in nature and building a house by himself with his two hands as opposed to hiring a professional carpenter to do it. If you go to George Orwell's novel 1984, the sad part at the end was that Winston grew to love Big Brother. The establishment beat him completely. That was the point. He became seduced by life on the screen, the food, and everything else about society. He was a willing consumer, pop culture, mainstream news clone. Be strong. Be brave. Be fearless. Life should be urgent and now because you're gonna get old. Then what? A bunch of regrets? Regenerate yourself every day through releasing the natural energy inside of you with love and intensity for the process. Some Eastern mystic I heard on public radio said the greatest wealth is your life, exactly what you do every day to set your spirit free and on high, what you do to give yourself worth and a good feeling. True nature too. Some Canadian Indian guy I heard on the radio said today is a good day to be alive. Live like you feel you're always on the verge of doing something great from the natural potential energy that lives inside of you. Are frivolous pursuits good? To me, I'm dishonoring my life if I spend my time on meaningless amusements. Buddha said, look within. Trust yourself. Capitalist thinking is about eternal deficiency. Suppose you work hard and make money, so you buy a mansion and an expensive car, but very soon you will feel you need a second house or a bigger house and another car, then another, then another. You never have enough to meet the standard advertised on TV as having arrived. Enlightenment is a two-step process. Discover your true nature, which is who you were naturally born to be. Honor it by living to release most of the natural energy inside of you day by day with love and intensity for the process. This will give you 4 things. Self-respect, earned one day at a time. A constant state of well-being. Short bursts of euphoria and transcendence when you're fully engaging your life force, which linger throughout the day to give you an extra high feeling of goodness and well-being. A sense of harmony, a feeling that you are honoring the God that created you by being the best possible specimen He made you to be. Your state of being/mood ends when you go to sleep. It doesn't matter what you did today that makes you feel great or miserable, the next morning you start at a flat line again. If you live in poverty, you are always worried about getting by. In order to live a great life, you need a financial comfort zone where you have some leisure time to do what you want. I don't need much. I live modestly, but I have enough money so I don't have to worry about being homeless anytime soon. If you win the Grand Slam Super Bowl of the World Championship Wonderful Great Fantastic Human Being Contest and win $1 billion in the lottery, the next morning when you wake up, your life is at a flat line again. Nothing creates euphoria but a constant release of the natural energy in your free spirit. If somebody loves you and/or you love someone and you do great loving acts to each other and/or have great sexual experiences, it's all gone tomorrow morning. You have to keep doing those loving and sexual actions day after day in order to keep the great intimate loving connection going at full throttle. There is no one point where you find your great soulmate, win great admiration from the world and get the big motherload of money where you have arrived, and you will have a perma-smile on your face and in your soul every day, because quality of life, self-respect, and sense of well-being are all fluid qualities, not static. You create your life every minute through what you do and think. Every day you have to repeat the process to earn your self-respect and well-being in order to feel that euphoria again. Self-betrayal takes on 2 major components. Most people betray themselves when they get sucked into the artificial values of the world rather than following their true natures. An artificial value is anything that is not inherent to you, like capitalist ambition, religion, patriotism, pop culture entertainment, the idea of being cool as defined by society, buying into monogamy as the way to happiness, which is society's idea thrust onto you, buying into the social sciences, the cult of celebrity, fashion, the mainstream news, political parties, etc. Extreme self-betrayal is a person who doesn't even release energy following the artificial values of the world. An ambitious person following artificial values is at least doing something by working to make money or trying to be cool and trendy. A person who sits around doing nothing but absorbing pop culture entertainment and pursuing other types of frivolous excess like eating excessively, drinking alcohol, buying useless stuff, etc. has no foundation for self-respect within themselves. They live in self-contempt even though on face most pretend they're cool and in charge. People feel alone then go to pieces when they don't have a deep intimate connection like the ones they see on TV, which incidentally is a lot of fake stuff. Very few people get the intimacy and the connections with other people they want in life, particularly with a lover or mate, but that's a story for my love book. You have to realize that you spend most of your time alone in your own head no matter what, even if you have great lovers, relatives, friends, and pets. You are accountable to yourself for most of your happiness. You can get part of it through relationships, but you always have to earn your own sense of self-worth through what you do, which may be solitary or may involve other people. At one time, I had enough money to do whatever I wanted within reason. I went out drinking, doing drugs, trying to make the cool scene and all that stuff. It only took about 6 months before I realized something was seriously wrong. I wasn't created to eat processed foods for pleasure, drink alcohol, do drugs night after night and go out looking for some kind of action. I was looking to meet cool people, looking for easy sex and to meet some great woman to fall in love with. Now that I'm enlightened, I have the highest wisdom possible in the human condition, so I don't need to go looking for the answers to life anymore. Strong will alone is not enough. You need wisdom too. Enlightenment is not enough because wisdom fades. You need the strong will to constantly live truly and purely. If you have a TV and an internet connection, that big pop culture media capitalist sales machine is coming at you all the time, plus all the people around you are living in that headspace, so you have to be strong enough to constantly say to yourself, I live by my true nature and that's it. As far as love goes, I've been in love several times when I was young until I realized I'm a hedonist. I'm horny all the time by nature. I have to live with who I am. Everybody does. A great tragedy is the married man who can't find the privacy to do it to himself when he feels like it. A great way to live. I do because I must, because I know I can. Life is action right now. That's all you ever got. You're either somewhere on hope, joy, and happiness, or sadness and tragedy. Middle ground neutral to me is sadness. If I cannot be intense about my life, I feel like death. If I was forced to do it, like if I was extremely physically disabled, I would prefer death. If you can't aspire to a peak experience, life is nothing. Stand alone without illusions. Live true to yourself. My philosophy is that nobody deserves to live in material excess while there is so much pain, poverty, and suffering in the world. Everybody is entitled to pursue the basic necessities, which is a modest home and the basic comforts. Can you be a happy and good person if you live in material excess? Capitalism says if you earn it, you deserve it. You can flaunt it if you want. I say this is why the world is screwed, because of the greedy people trying to hoard as much as they can, while some of the poor people who have nothing starve and die of basic medical diseases that cost a few dollars to cure. I believe that a lot of people in modern Western society live empty, mundane, miserable lives because they have bought into the capitalist machine sales pitch to constantly feed them new material goods and entertainment while not listening to the sense of inner accountability their creator/God endowed them with. Should anybody spend 3 hours watching some sporting event when they could be doing something useful or inspired from the store of natural energy within themselves? What exactly does being a spectator of some entertainment event do for you? Does it give you a feeling of happiness, euphoria, or is it just brainwashed idiocy that wastes your time under the pretense that it's cool, happen and stuff? There is inner spiritual disharmony for me if I'm a passive spectator of anything and if I buy any frivolous material goods I don't need. The natural law is to take what you need, not want in a frivolous, greedy way, and either share or leave the rest for others. The rich people try to get worth by impressing others with big houses, big cars, etc. The poor people envy them. Enlightened people don't need much. They live to release their natural energy day after day. That's it. I live by the primal creative aesthetic spiritual intellectual energy in my free spirit. I'm detached from consumer goods beyond what I need. Mild self-betrayal is where you're doing all right because you're paying your way, releasing artificial energy you got sucked into doing by the world, even though you feel a gnawing sense of emptiness that something is not quite right in your life. When I was a moderately successful capitalist, I used to do my job, drive a sports car, have a lot of clothes and junk, work out hard at the gym and catch a buzz with my buddies several nights a week. I remember I was at a supermarket once buying some expensive health food. I was thinking to myself, what am I doing buying this phony yuppie crap? Something is wrong. I'm still not happy. I'm still not feeling like my life is naturally at ease, like I'm doing what I was born to do. I was living by image over soul, buying into society's bullshit over what was in my free spirit. Extreme self-betrayal would be a couch potato who does not release much energy at all but just sits there wallowing in gluttony and self-contempt. I've identified the major natural energies from my true nature/soul that I live to release all the time. This is the key to happiness and well-being in people. Inspired energy, for me this physical and creative intellectual energy. You have to discover what you naturally love to do, then spend most of your days engaged in them. This is the only way to feel good all the time. It's great if you can figure out a way to earn a living from it, but even if you can't, this is the foundation for whatever happiness and exhilaration you get out of your life day by day. Loving energy. Most people want to be loved and give love. Love is naturally a strong emotion. It doesn't take up much time during the day to embrace and be intimate with your loved ones, including pets, unless you have determined that a big part of your true nature/identity is to help the poor, downtrodden, exploited and abused people of the world in some way, in which case this act of love is also a part of your natural inspired energy. Sexual energy. You have to release your sexual energy even if you're by yourself. Unfulfilled horniness causes misery. It's a great unsung tragedy within the human race. People still feel ashamed of admitting they masturbate, which is kind of funny to me, since I know anybody that doesn't do it must be an idiot for depriving themselves of all that pleasure. It is the biggest recreational activity on the planet. Within the human race, the number of orgasms attained through masturbation is much higher than the number of orgasms attained through sex with other people. Minor relaxation, entertainment, hedonistic fun, what you do to unwind and relax at the end of the day. I catch a buzz now and then. I watch a bit of TV, but that's about it. I love my creative intellectual work so much that I'll often do it right until I go to bed. That's what being inspired about your life is. You don't care about the minor entertainment and material things other people are into to try to fill up their empty lives. Practical energy. There are things everybody must do for basic survival, the most important of which is to earn a living. The happiest are the people who earn money by doing what naturally inspires them anyway. Figure out a way to do something that other people find useful that they will pay for from what you do anyway out of your love for your life. Everybody has to do basic practical things just to get through the day, like eat, clean, wash yourself, go to the bathroom, get wood for the fire if you have a wood stove in a cold climate, pick your vegetables, get gas, buy food, pay bills, etc. The happiest people are active people running with their lives in a kind of urgent fun race to do things. If you take on a safe career in any field but feel like you were born to do something else, like there is some unique unused energy inside of you wanting to get out but you don't know exactly what it is, you'll have a gnawing feeling of emptiness, like you missed something or are currently missing out on something until you live by your true nature. I had to trust myself to believe I would make it with my own ideas, which is why I quit teaching and lived like a pauper in order to have the free time to do whatever I wanted to do within my budget. Over time, I gravitated to the few things I really like to do. Your spirits go on high when you feel like a racehorse in heat in whatever area of life you happen to be interested in. You free yourself from the generic mundanity of the human condition and soar into that zone of transcendence for a while, that flowing, intense purging of your purity as an individual with joy and love for the process. This is what artists, dancers, musicians, singers, athletes, inventors, and creative intellectuals do. They free themselves from a regular flatline life and reach heights of spiritual aesthetic ecstasy by releasing this natural store of energy from their free spirits. I go through periods of high-intensity exertion throughout the day. It sets up a kind of euphoria in my spirit that I ride like a surfer rides a wave. Even on slow, quiet rest days, I still go at it at a good pace to release some of that energy inside of me. A dictionary definition of transcendence is a state of exaltation, of knowing deep in yourself that you created a moment of great clarity when everything comes together in a perfect feeling. Live for it. That's the highest wisdom you can get anywhere about human life. Honor the blueprint or seed your Creator God put inside of you by facing the journey with openness, toughness, tenacity, and a strong desire to release your untapped natural potential as your only life force, which is what you decide to dedicate most of your life to, therefore spend most of your time on. Analyze your life. Follow your natural sense of inspiration, what excites you in your free spirit, until you figure out what your true nature is, then release all that energy to feel the highest euphoria and inspiration any human being can possibly experience. I say you should live like this. When you attain enlightenment, you have a sense of obligation and responsibility to your life. You feel there is something you were born to do within the grand scheme of life in the human race that is worthy, good, and possibly great. That becomes your code and standard. You live by it. Nothing else matters to you much. After I started figuring out that all this stuff for sale out there didn't mean much to me, it still took me several more years to tear down most of the other societal institutions and ideologies I was brought up to believe in, like institutional religion, the idea of some people in the past getting together with a god or some gods to give us the moral path to human living and eternal salvation. The intent to scare people into being good is a good idea, but it is still false. We are what we are by nature. All formal knowledge except for the hard sciences, math, and language was created by humans, so I question all of it. Political ideologies, everything comes down to power. All people are self-centered and can be easily corrupted. All self-help, New Age knowledge pretending to have knowledge on how to live a great life. The institution of monogamous marriage presented as the natural path to happiness. Paternalism, the idea that men get happiness out of raising children. Capitalism, the idea that excessive consumption will make you happy. Ethnic origin, people try to get a sense of identity by identifying with some group of people, but there are good and bad in every group. Everybody is a loner individual responsible for themselves. Patriotism, I'm a citizen of Canada but I'm really a generic citizen of the world. All nations are artificial boundaries created by people. Pop culture entertainers are presented as the cool people worthy to be celebrities that regular people should try to imitate if they want to be cool too. This is more marketing and sales by the capitalist machine. Representative democracies supposedly have politicians representing the people, but they really represent themselves, their political party, their friends and family, their campaign contributors, and anyone who wants a favor in exchange for a mutual favor after the election. The lie that I live in a free country. Art and culture is touted as the pursuit of beauty, truth, perfection, and the human experience. To me, most of it is pretentious crap. I tore everything away that was artificial next to my pure, primal noble self. This is being true to oneself, free and enlightened. All I owe the world is to pay my way and not break the laws. Happiness is an inner feeling in the soul attained by working hard to release the natural potential energy you were endowed with. It has to be renewed every day. There is no such thing as any event that will raise your level of happiness permanently for the rest of your life. Life is an ongoing fluid commodity. Happiness is not a fixed entity. A great life is to engage your free spirit every day in the art and act of living greatly with love and reverence for being alive. That's it. A good symbol for the free spirit ideology is Michelangelo's painting on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, where man is trying to touch God but doesn't quite get there. You're constantly trying to reach higher, maybe to better your life and the life of the human race somehow, but for me it's often a lot simpler and more immediate. I want that euphoric, transcendent feeling like I'm soaring or flying for a while. I get it when I'm absorbed in the few things I love to do. Excess weight is an outer manifestation of inner disharmony. Inner disharmony means you are not following your true nature, releasing the natural energy in your free spirit. All excesses or addictions are a compensation for being out of harmony with one's true nature. A lot of people do silly things to compensate for their inner sense of disharmony, like hoarders, collectors, people with way more material things than they could ever use, people who eat too much, alcoholics, drug addicts, people who absorb pop culture entertainment to the point that they identify with that fake world as a part of their identity, etc. Chapter 4. The Great Battles and Lies of Life. Free Spiritism. What is self-respect? How do you earn it day after day? What is self-betrayal? Be true to yourself by doing what you feel is right all the time. See your life as a pure fixed essence. You can't be messing with all the stuff in school, on TV, in pop culture entertainment, and you can't buy into any formula some alleged self-help guru is selling you about X number of stages or strategies to a great life. It's just you and that free spirit inside of you living as a flowing consciousness. There's only one fountain of youth until science comes up with a way to regenerate old bodies. It's how strong your spirit is. You prove to yourself every day that you're tough, inspired and love to constantly release most of that natural energy inside of you. Do what you love. Be with people and pets you love. Ignore the rest. Life is your art form. Your canvas is what you do every day. Whatever is beautiful, strong, vital, and powerful inside of you is the purity your God endowed you with. Why is it that all of us look at someone and immediately make an intuitive judgment of them? What are we judging? We're judging their dignity, how true they are in honoring who they were created to be by nature. There is only one real secret to life. It's got nothing to do with that law of attraction or law of intention crap which says the universe will give you what you want if your intentions are right. Everybody thinks they got great intentions, which means, according to that new age bull, that we should all be happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise, but we're not. Never forget the old saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. In all my experiences with people, I have rarely met anyone who does not think they have good intentions, even when they're committing crimes, because they say they're doing it for a good reason, to help their families. It's just you facing what you feel inside of yourself. I created a soul scale that I talk about elsewhere that's simple to live by. The scale goes from 1 to 100. 100 means I blasted all my natural spiritual aesthetic, loving, hedonistic, intense, inspired energy out of myself today. It's a great day if and when you reach it, but it's really hard to live like this all the time. When I get up every morning, my standard is to release 85% of my natural energy for the day. Most of my day is spent doing physical, creative, and intellectual activities. When I reach a certain level of satisfaction doing these activities, I've earned the right within myself to do any hedonistic or loving activities I want for the rest of the day. Your soul, which is your purity as a human being, instinctively knows when you've betrayed yourself because it sends you messages through your inner voice telling you that you did not become the person you were born with the power to be for today. This can build up for days and days until you feel like a mundane piece of crap all the time. You might not know why you feel like this, but for most people, this what's happening. It's a simple case of betraying their true natures. A lot of women and men feel lonely. Some of that is inherent, but some is massive cultural indoctrination. I know for a fact that human males were not born with the natural inclination to be in a monogamous relationship. They're more like the alpha male in many mammal species, have sex with any attractive female that arouses you, but if you watch TV, you wouldn't know this. All the shows promote monogamy and the dating websites are going strong with all their TV commercials. Your society has indoctrinated you to feel deficient if you're not in a monogamous relationship. Multi-millions of people buy into this line of thinking, then get depressed because they're single rather than ignoring it all and living by their true natures. The wisdom of the world vs. my wisdom. Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Philippians 4:8. I examined my life looking for the truth in life, something I could relate to and live by. I was a well-intentioned kid trying to do the right thing according to the system I was brought up to believe in. I spent most of the first 28 years of my life looking outside of myself for answers on how to live a good to great life through all kinds of places like my relatives, friends, school, religion, TV, radio talk shows, the mass media, self-help books, the philosophies of the ancients, the social sciences, etc. I think this is a common fallacy of youth. I believed that other people and institutions had the answers to life more so than I did. Part of it was that I had been massively culturally indoctrinated like most young people are, at least until the age of 28. I also believe that in order to attain true enlightenment, you can't just suddenly come to the great insight that will define your life. You need experience, which comes down to time spent alone seeing that you are irrelevant to the flow of life in the world. You need to see that everyone has their own motives and agendas, some of which may be greedy to evil and against you. You can't really learn these things out of a book or from someone else saying them. You have to live them to come to basic truths about your life and the life of the human race. There are no strategies, steps, or rules to living a great life. There is just you following your true nature, living by the intuition inside of you given by your Creator God. The quality of your life is measured in how much you relish in every moment through all your senses and intellect. How much do you own your life versus how much you let people, society, and situations that happen influence what you do and think. The only way to change your temperament is through a brain injury, brain surgery, or taking certain drugs that alter brain chemistry. Other than that, whenever somebody says they changed or went from wallflower to belle of the ball, it's a fake job. You are who you are. You cannot change your essence. People, mostly women, change their hair color, get makeovers, buy new clothes, new cars, etc. It means nothing next to what is in your free spirit. When you follow your true nature, your life is right. It's just you, your own standard in life, and how much guts, toughness, and sense of adventure you have in exploring it to its fullest. When you're enlightened, you have a mindset where you intuitively almost always know what is going on in any situation with people underneath the facades, and you always know what to do next because of the natural inherent standard inside of you that is a combination of God-given innate wisdom. Wisdom learned from experience in the world followed by analysis of it. Some book knowledge, not much because you intuitively always revert back to your innate wisdom no matter what you read in any book of wisdom unless you can tie it into the natural standard of life you feel inside of you. Some laws created by man are stupid. They have no morality attached to them, so I disregard them. I live by the morality inside of me given to me by whatever created me. All our lives, they try to tell us citizens of Western society that we are individualistic, that we must make our own way in life, yet at the same time they try to get us hooked on buying things in order to look cool and good to others. They give us several hundred career options, put them into categories of status and say pick one for your vocation. Nobody ever told me to explore my life then go outside the box of the standard occupations if I didn't feel they did anything much for me. That's why I think a lot of our society is a lie. They tell us we're free, but we're really a bunch of homogeneous brainwashed wimps. It's a lot easier to buy useless stuff, eat tasty food and watch TV than it is to try to release what is in one's free spirit. All the mental health drugs the psychobabble industry sells is a great tragedy. You will never solve your mental problems with drugs because they are problems of the spirit, problems with your entire being. You must honor your true nature or bear the consequences of self-betrayal. The classic story of any enlightened person is the hero's journey that Joseph Campbell talked about. The young man goes out into the world seeking fame and fortune only to get beat up and told he must conform. The world doesn't want individual thinkers. If this doesn't break his spirit, he gets stronger, then eventually realizes the world is screwed with its emphasis on greed, socioeconomic status, ego, and conspicuous consumption, but he's not like that and doesn't want to be. He's listening to whatever is divine within himself the way he was born. All you ever own is your spirit and body. Your body will deteriorate, then all you have is spirit. Culture your free spirit by being true to it. Everyone has a purpose in life, a unique gift or talent that you can use to help others and improve the world. There is something that you can do better than anyone else in the world for the benefit of mankind. Expressing your talents to help others and fulfill needs will create the life you want. There is a reason why you were born. Find out what that reason is for yourself, then live by it. Many people succumb to either their dark side of greed, never having enough, or gluttony and sloth, always wanting more food, alcohol, consumer goods, and entertainment without doing much of anything. If you're enlightened, you know you're beautiful, good, pure, and strong, and live by it. Goethe said, "Whatever you can do, or dream you can, begin it." Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. The price for following your bliss is high: financial insecurity, possible crimes committed against you, and possible hardship for daring to go beyond a comfortable life working a steady job. But the price for not following your bliss is high too: a life of regrets and self-betrayal. You are the only authority of your life. There is an absolute moral standard about not hurting and exploiting people or life in general, but after that, your life is yours to do as you please and not to follow anything you don't want to, like patriotism, religious values, psychobabble, New Age values, materialistic or pop culture values. It's a matter of feeling the flow of energy within yourself. Buddha said life is suffering. That's not true. Life can be joy if you know how to live it. I don't think my parents, the school, or the church influenced me much. I think I was my essence at 5 years old and simply had to throw off the shackles of my indoctrination to discover my essence and say to myself, the hell with everything else, I live for my soul every day. What good is your life if you gain the whole world and lose a hold of your soul? Romantic love is only possible if two people support each other's free spirits. If somebody tries to drain or control your free spirit, get out. It will never work. Some people are born evil. They have evil tendencies right from the start. It's not about their impoverished upbringing or abuse by others. I believe we're all a mix of goodness, selfishness, and evil. I'm suggesting follow the good parts of your free spirit. Don't commit any crimes. Every man has lusty thoughts that you can't act out in real life, so play it cool, do what you can to realize your free spirit and leave the rest to fantasy. Are you proud of what you do every day? Be open to the possibilities of life. Feel the energy within yourself and go with it. This is Tao or Qi, your life flow. Live in the present moment. Your motive should be love of life for its own sake, not a capitalist motive of setting goals and making X amount of money. Accept who you are by nature. Don't fight it. If you hate someone, that's the way it is. Don't try to change it. The only way to be happy is to be yourself as you are. Unhappiness comes when you start trying to be somebody else. Those who choose fear destroy themselves. Let the fear be there, in spite of the fear, live with gusto. Accept death, the death of loved ones and eventually you. There is no point in denying it. Enjoy life while alive, and when death comes, enjoy that too. Fear can create a problem. If you start holding back, releasing your energy, then you will create a contradiction in your being. Enjoy the dance while it lasts. Your emotions come from your soul. Feel them, understand them. Learn by analyzing your life as you live it. Logic and reasoning are good, but so are intuitions and emotions. Science dissects everything. Intuition joins you with your natural spirit. Don't interpret life too much. Accept it. Live it. Living by the joy in your spirit is better than living by capitalist ambition. Everything you do either creates more joy or misery. This is how you live. You create yourself one step at a time. Be aware of all that you are and all that your world is. See the naked truth of it all. Don't identify with any religion, your country, a sports team, a school, a political party, etc. Love is good, but spread it around. Do not focus it just on a few people. Misery is caused by blaming the outside world on your problems. You can have problems and not be miserable. Causes don't exist outside human consciousness, causes exist inside you. You are the cause of your life. Misery is nothing but distance from truth. When you know what your true nature is and live by it, it's joy. Habits are artificial behaviors you impose on yourself. If it doesn't come from your soul, you can't keep it up for very long without starting to feel like you're dying inside. Anti-psychobabble. Love is touted as the answer to happiness in life by all religions and most New Age philosophy and psychobabble, but it's not enough, at least not for me. For starters, it's so vague. How are you consciously loving other people all the hours of the day? Is it a constant act of sacrifice or sacredness, holding your objects of love up with reverence, serving and complimenting them all day long? I rarely see loving couples who don't get mad at each other here and there. I felt loved and loving all my life. As a young man, I had a decent job as a teacher and was with a beautiful girl I was in love with, but I still kept asking myself why I didn't feel fulfilled. Why did I have a constant vague sense of emptiness all the time? I knew there was something missing but didn't know what it was. For some people, love is a big part of their true nature. They dedicate their lives either loving their family or loving other people and doing kind, helping, charitable acts for them. Good for them. It's their true nature, what they were born to do. I like to be loved and loving, but it uses up a small amount of time every day. There are many hours in a day. I finally figured it out. It's finding existential meaning for my life. Every day I have to prove to myself that I'm the physically tough, inspired, creative, intellectual thinker I see myself as. What is dignity? Dignity for me is every day when I blow off all that physical, inspired, creative, intellectual, hedonistic and loving energy inside of me. It's like Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead. A powerful, great, noble individual is someone who has enough reverence or love for their lives to strive to live by the inner voice they feel within themselves. A human being is a whole entity like an engine is. Everything operates together as a unit all at the same time. Psychobabblists think they can give you X number of artificial, mechanical rules to follow, and this will somehow magically transform your life if you follow like a good little clone robot day after day, but you can't and you won't, because you're a human being. You always go back to your own intuition even if you don't realize it. Your inner voice will always tell you that something is not quite right within you until and unless you live by your true nature/free spirit. My mission in life is to discover my true nature, true identity I was born with, my holistic fixed purity. Honor it every day by releasing most of that untapped natural energy that I feel inside of me every morning when I wake up. Figure out a way to earn a living from it. The ideal way is to do something I love to do from my store of natural energy that can help and serve other people. Even if I can't figure out a way to earn a living doing what I feel in my pure essence as a human being, I must do it all the time if I want to live a greatly inspired, sensual, aesthetic, happy life. A lot of people look for a relationship to fulfill them, but it's not enough because you are alone. You spend most of your time alone. Relationships turn on a dime. You can read my love book for my ideas on that. Freud pointed out that the human condition goes on beneath the surface. I say no way. Your childhood doesn't matter either, as with his psychosexual theory and Oedipus and Electra complexes. You are who you are right now in your conscious thoughts. People like me repress nothing and make a point to be aware of what they think and feel. There is no ID, ego, and superego. This is a framework for human behavior, but it's all about your one free spirit. I don't hide or repress my so-called ID. It's all there out in the open for me. My only rule is don't break the law or use people as in for sex. If they are willing participants, it's all good. There are some mental illnesses caused by a messed up brain chemistry, but most emotional mental problems are caused by not being true to one's nature. But to admit this simple fact would be the death of a big chunk of the mental health counseling and drug business, so they pretend mental illness is a bunch of advanced knowledge. Human beings are self-centered to selfish to greedy more than they are good to saintly. If they were truly good, there would be no poor people, because all the good human beings would share their bounty with the less fortunate. So when I see somebody living in excess, I have no illusions about them being the good human beings they think they are. By nature, the strong get what they can to survive and dominate or enslave the others, and that's it. Our enslavement is buying into the concepts of customs, tradition, material excess, and status in the media and in society. Goodness comes from a mix of empathy and analysis of life. If you observe kids, most of them are very self-centered. It takes analysis to go beyond our true natures to aspire to do good things. Self-delusion is huge. People think they are better morally, kinder and more fascinating than they actually are. Can forces shape the people in a society to be more cooperative as opposed to competitive? After I left the military, I went to civilian colleges looking for the answers to life. After studying the social science fields for several years, I realized they operate on the capitalist paradigm. Constantly expand your product line even if it's useless. They keep filling up their academic journals with new articles and studies, but the question is whether this is real new cutting-edge knowledge or psychobabble garbage. Modern-day psychobabble tries to divorce us from our true natures and creates phony experts who claim to know more about us than we know about ourselves as individuals. This is about power, control, and making money with a lie. The big formal academic institutions in the social sciences put forth the idea that they know something deep and advanced about the way people think and live, which they use to get naive people to give over their personal power as individuals to them. The average person thinks that somebody wearing a lab coat with several social science degrees has superior insights into human behavior, so they go to them with problems looking for answers only to be put into a mental illness or learning disability category, told they have specific limitations, then they are given mental health drugs and put on psychotherapy, when in actual fact they are individuals that can't be put into a category based on what's going on in their heads, because there are really no mental illnesses that can be exactly and specifically identified by a physiological test like a medical test to diagnose a medical disease. Psychoanalysis is a lie. I have no hidden subconscious mind full of deep, lusty and violent thoughts plus negative unresolved conflicts from my childhood. My life is an open book to me. I have no secrets from myself. I know how sexual and aggressive I am by nature. I live every day in the present moment. Nothing from the past means anything to me. We're all a continuous flow of consciousness. Nobody knows what anybody else is really thinking, so the only pure truth is to live a free life, doing what you really want to do, not listening to what anybody else or any formal institution says, because enlightenment can't go higher than what any one individual can figure out on his or her own. Your thoughts have the potential to go as high as the highest ideals and wisdom the human race has ever reached, or even higher if you're the only sensible person anywhere. You won't find the highest wisdom within humanity in any of the social sciences, because they don't want to admit that they make the study of human life a lot more complicated than it really is. This is the way they make money, so it's in their best interests to come up with loads of mental illnesses, learning disabilities, and psychological syndromes so that they can create little industries for each of them, like tests, therapies, books, specially trained counselors and drugs. Life is simple, lived in the moment by intuition. I don't believe in any of the social sciences like psychology, sociology, philosophy, political science, etc. The only thing I believe in economics is the multiplier effect. I don't believe in history because it's written by the victors. I don't even believe in a lot of the conventional medical knowledge out there because it's based on making money through drugs and surgery only, without looking at all the other possible alternative, holistic treatments out there. Everything in life is local and current, in the moment. You deal with it as it happens, yet we have created big formal institutions with big theories trying to impose their faulty solutions onto us. The subconscious mind thing is fraud. There is nothing hidden about me that I can't think about in my regular conscious mind. Dreams are just random thoughts from your mind, or the continuing process of thinking about the things that concern you in your daily life while you sleep. They don't have any advanced, hidden meanings to them. The psychobabblists make money by convincing people that a large part of who they are is hidden beneath their conscious minds, so they can counsel them in their fraudulent psychotherapy sessions, which is a big lie that a lot of people got sucked into. I'm an artist of my life. Everything I hold dear I came to by thinking about in my conscious mind. There could be some deep collective consciousness memories hidden away in our genes that only come out when I or anyone else ingests certain psychotropic substances, but even still, it has got nothing to do with creating my day-to-day life. Ultimately, this psychedelic collective unconscious stuff is entertainment next to who I see myself as and strive to honor every day. I had some freaky hallucinations when doing mushrooms, but so what? They were freaky images and all that. They could have been just fantasy or something from our collective mind, but ultimately they mean nothing next to my daily life. I did a lot of drugs looking for this hidden dimension of my life, but all I got was cool hallucinations that seemed to come from a primal collective consciousness that could be hidden inside of us but only comes out when the conditions are right, like using drugs, but beyond that, I do not buy into the lie that a large part of my free spirit/essence/soul is hidden from me in a secret chamber in my brain that motivates me without me knowing about. You might get something from the 1983 movie Altered States or read Terence McKenna, John C. Lilly, Timothy Leary and even Carl Jung with his collective unconscious stuff. My life is an open book to me. I know all about my sexual desires, how I deal with anger, my violent tendencies, my noble thoughts and everything else. It's not hard. Just be honest with yourself. Say to yourself that you want to learn about your life, so examine all controversial thoughts you get. Freud's subconscious mind idea is excellent fodder for stupid novels and psychoanalysts who make money by stringing people along in endless therapy sessions looking for the alleged hidden conflicts buried inside of you that have turned you into this weak human being today. I believe that psychotherapy to delve into the past has caused a lot more harm than any good it's done. Hundreds to thousands of people have supposedly discovered they were abused as children in psychotherapy, which they supposedly repressed until this wise psychobabblerist brought it out of them. If you look at some of these cases and see the person who supposedly molested his daughter or did something evil to her, you intuitively know it didn't happen. It's all fabricated. Don't look for solutions to your life in your past. Look at what you do every day, how you honor your true identity. There's a big business in the self-help industry about reprogramming your mind, changing your thoughts, developing positive self-esteem by thinking better thoughts, which they say then gets internalized into your subconscious mind and you change to become a fascinating human being. It's all a lie. You are what you are in your essence. That's it. Find that beauty and power inside of you and live by it. Don't care about what others say or think about you. It's about you being true to yourself. Your identity is cold steel. It can't be molded, dampened, or changed if you're a strong individual. They say placebos help to cure people, like giving them fake pills and telling them the pills will cure them. This isn't subconscious suggestion. It's all upfront and conscious. You believe something is good and it will help you, and it does. There's nothing mysterious that takes place in a secret mysterious part of your mind. It's basic positive thinking which has its defects because it's Pollyannish, possible delusion instead of facing reality. The positive power psychobabbalists won't tell you stuff like that. They just pick the few testimonials of the people who say positive thinking did this or that for them and ignore the many cases where positive thinking is useless or even detrimental because it's action that counts. Thoughts by themselves are nothing much. There is no law of abundance or law of attraction. It's nice to think there is karma, that you get what you deserve, but if this is true, why did that Jewish rabbi guy Harold Kushner write a book about bad things happening to good people which was a tribute to his sick son? Why did all those innocent people starve and get killed in all the genocides? It's more fraud masquerading as New Age self-help. The Chinese are big on luck. They're a lot more advanced by thinking this than we are. The truth is that there is no rhyme or reason why some people get big breaks and some don't. Just keep living every day by following your true nature regardless of outcome out in the world. You need not leave your room. Remain sitting at your table and listen. You need not even listen, simply wait. You need not even wait, just learn to become quiet, and still, and solitary. The world will freely offer itself to you to be unmasked. It has no choice, it will roll in ecstasy at your feet. Franz Kafka. Just discover your true nature, that inherent standard or archetype you were born with, and live by it. There is nothing more complicated about life than this. Easy breezy euphoria. There is one spectacle grander than the sea, that is the sky. There is one spectacle grander than the sky, that is the interior of the soul. Victor Hugo, Les Miserables. One thing alone is certain, that man's slavery grows and increases. Man is becoming a willing slave. He no longer needs chains. He begins to grow fond of his slavery, to be proud of it. And this is the most terrible thing that can happen to a man. Gurdjieff. There is one major archetype or image that defines you. It's usually a strong, beautiful, wise person living a vital life untouched by the pollution and bull of the world. This is your true nature. Have you ever felt like everything is cool, like you're in harmony with your true nature, doing what you were born to do? This feeling doesn't last unless you're true to yourself every day, releasing all that natural energy your God put inside of you to purge. Free spiritism is a lifestyle of craving for that easy breezy euphoric feeling you get when you're tapped into your true, natural sense of inspired, vital power, running with it because it makes you feel like you got it, whatever it is that makes life qualitatively higher than the way animals live, focusing on food, safety, and shelter all the time. It's the effort to free yourself from the generic mundanity of the human condition, the way you feel every day when you wake up. You gotta fight to reach transcendent feelings through releasing the bulk of your natural, inspired sensual loving energy. You gotta free the power in your free spirit. If you don't, you'll just be another normal person living out another generic, average day with no highs attained through your own efforts. You feel high when you let your spirit soar long, hard, intense and free. To be down to earth about it, you release most of your natural inspired energy to get into your groove, that frame of mind where you feel like you're high and flowing along, riding it like a surfer rides a wave. Feel the force inside yourself, then express it and purge it. Bibliotecapliads.net could be the best website in the world for alternative thought. TheGreatIllusion.com, cool pictures. Treat your life with reverence. Be bold enough to strive to live a glorious life. Love this life the Creator God gave you. The secret to all things is passion. With passion all things are possible. You need the drive to get to the absolute bottom of everything and strip away every lie until there is nothing left but your naked truth, your true nature. A great life is a flow of beauty, love, lust, and intensity, not some paper chase to reach some illusory position in the socio-economic hierarchy. You are the only instrument of your destiny. You create your life minute by minute through what you think and do. There's nothing in the universal karma ensuring you will get your just due. It's just you and the thoughts and ideas your Creator, either God or nature, put into you. You create your life as you live it every single day. Everything else is random. Sometimes good things happen, sometimes crap happens. If you release most of the natural energy in your free spirit all the time, you will get the maximal reward you can possibly get through the part of your life that you can control, but there is no rhyme nor reason for why things beyond your control happen or why they don't. You could get lucky or suffer a tragedy. The New Age con artists have the perfect answer when you don't seem to be attracting what you want. They say your intentions aren't pure enough. Do all the people in the world who are starving, lost their homes through foreclosure, got a disease or lost their jobs have bad or less than pure intentions? Bad things happen to good people and great things happen to bad people. The positive power flakes can't seem to explain it. It's modern fraud. There is no real strong connection, intimacy, and empathy among any group of people. It's too bad, but that's what humanity is really about. Even the closest among us are universes apart.